Welcome, folks. We are live on Facebook, Rumble, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, um, and now Telegram. So we have a great show for you today. It is this is this man's story is this man is I've known this man for over a decade. He's a good friend of mine. I consider this man like family. I personally vetted his credentials, his background. Um, he has been fighting the Clark County School District of Las Vegas and their corruption going on there at the school board meetings. Now, I don't want to just kind of like I'll kind of like I'm going to read the article we put together for you guys. He's supposed to be jumping on so we can get his take on everything and he can explain for you guys. But he has some stuff going on in his and that he might prevent me, so he might have to come back another time. I don't know. We're going to try and get him on. He's supposed to be able to get on, so he got some stuff going on as well, other stuff that we got to consider. So we're going to move forward anyway, because either way, we're going to show you what happened and we're going to talk about it. So, and this is historic. I truly believe this. I was there, witnessed the whole thing, and I think we have a effective strategy for fighting back and regaining control of our schools. And I think this could be used as a template all across the nation. And I really, really believe that. So, with that being said, don't forget to follow our Facebook, Rumble, all subscribe to our Rumble and YouTube, to follow our Facebook pages and other social media. Check us out on Telegram. We are trying to grow that and migrate kind of away from the Facebook and the big tech oligarchs that like to censor stuff, because we got our own plans for them coming down the road, and we're going to take their business more or less. Anyway, so I'm not going to touch too much on that operational security and all that. So let's see, begin. I'm going to play for you guys our intro, and then we will go from there. Yeah, you got it. Is my volume a little low? I got it. Okay. Can you guys hear me better now?
Yes.
All right, cool. All right, welcome, folks. We have a special show for you today. last Thursday, I went and covered the local Clark County School District Board of Trustees school board meeting that they have. That's open to the public, where public can make their grievances and comments and stuff. So, and my buddy's been fighting this since, at least at the school board meeting, since last October. I know this man personally. I've known him for over a decade. He's very, very trustworthy, very, very loyal, very, very reliable source. And I've vetted his credentials personally. And what he's been able to pull off at these school board meetings has been nothing short of a small miracle. And as far as giving us an effective strategy to fight back. So without further ado, I think I'm going to just segue into reading the article. So we'll start off with that. So let me bring that up. I'm not going to screen read it. I'm going to actually read it for you guys because I wrote it. So we'll do that. I think it'd be more appropriate considering I did write it. So, all right, let's see what we got here. All right, so look, it's already got 89 hits. It's only been up for like 6 hours. That's great. CCSD legal system for due process for S.P.E.D exposed, a father's battle. CCSD legal system for due process for S.P.E.D legal action court system and Daniel Ibahara exposed, a father's battle. This story is one that I am personally familiar with. I have known Mr. Bayliss for over a decade and even consider him family. I have personally vetted his credentials and background. This story is one of the most, if not the most empowering true stories I have ever had the privilege to witness. Editor's note, 8/14/2022, 1:56 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. For those parents in Clark County seeking resources to help them in fighting this corruption, check out our sister site, politicallyincorrectness.com, which is dedicated to exposing corruption in the Clark County School District. Okay? And there's a link to that, and we're going to be updating that site very soon with a bunch of resources for you guys. In the Clark and in the local Las Vegas community for you parents out there that need resources to fight back. So that's what that site's dedicated for. But it's our sister site, basically. For this article, we will focus on the chain of events that occurred at this board, Clark County School District School Board Trustees meeting, which was held on Thursday, August 11th, 2022, at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and how they pertain to James Bayliss' story. In addition to how it's relevant to the corruption occurring in the Clark County School District legal system and due process for S.P.E.D. I arrived at the meeting 30 minutes early in order to see all the players as they arrived to the meeting. Among those were several parents with grievances, Mr. Bayliss included. Some parents even had their advocates there to back them up, which in my opinion is a critical component to keeping violations of due process at bay. And on a side note, folks, I'm an advocate for the CPS and family court corruption victims and stuff. So and that's a heavy task. So I'm highly confident. Like that's been the only way we've been able to keep these bastards at bay, to observe people's due process, is by keeping eyes on them. Really. All right. So okay, the harbor was there as well to witness this occasion. Anybody that's in the Las Vegas area, you all know who their harbor is. So but for those who don't, it's the link is right here. You can see it for yourself. But it's basically located in the same building as the Clark County Detention Center and the courthouse, basically. So, but what we've been able to find is some very, very interesting campaign finances going on here, which we believe are racketeering evidence, basically. So we're exposing all that shit. Yeah, we're taking you down, corrupt, complicit. Those of you who are in that. You know who you are. Anyways, I'm not going to say any names. Among those were several parents. Okay, there we go. Were several parents with grievances, Mr. Bayliss included. Some parents even had their advocates there to back them up, which in my opinion is a critical component to keeping violations of due process at bay. The harbor was there as well to witness this occasion, in addition to several students that were there. The meeting started off with everyone standing and citing the Pledge of Allegiance. Do they even have students in CCSD do this anymore? I mean, I don't know. Do they? I mean, I had heard that they don't. I'm not sure though. I haven't vetted it yet. I'm curious. Anybody in the audience know? Let me know. Followed by an intro performed by the ROTC program. The meeting then segued into the public comment portion of the meeting, where those airing their grievances during public speaking are given 2 minutes to voice their grievances. I would like to point out that while having very similar grievances to the other parents, Mr. Bayless's approach to ensuring accountability and exposing this corruption in the Clark County School District legal system for due process for S.P.E.D has been well above par throughout this fight. In addition to being entirely unique, as well as being highly effective. In fact, it is my firm belief that what Mr. Bayliss has accomplished here at this meeting is truly a historic moment and will set the standard for how parents can fight back against this school board and teachers union's corruption and overreach all over the country to take back our schools. Mr. Bayliss has figured out a way to beat these misguided souls who have lost their way at their own game. And I, for one, feel blessed to be able to break this story and be right there on the front lines with this man, helping him to expose these crooked board members and take back our schools. I would like to begin this exposure on corruption in the CCSD legal system for due process for S.P.E.D with Mr. James Bayliss grievances that he brought up at the meeting last Thursday. And we have a little video snippet of his speaking segments for context. You know what? I'm gonna play it the version I have on my computer because that's just not loud enough and it's not gonna work for me. So let me just give me 1 second, you guys. Let me bring it up. Here we go.
Hi, James Bayliss. This is pretty much just addressing what's been going on with my due process since I fired my lawyer on Monday. Danny Bahara botched up my transfer. He waited until the last minutes of before school started to give me to sign those lovely disclosure agreements you all know about. He's notorious for them. So I would like to address the fact that my kid's still at home because of what happened January 10th and nobody's addressed nothing. It's been complete dead silence. Bustamani's told the whole school not to talk to me. And there ain't nothing nobody can do about it because Danny Bahara is on the case and we all know who he works for. So what do you do with the due process? You guys are talking about legal and justice system when you're breaking your own justice system? How the heck does this work? We'll be addressing that later down the line here. And I'm just curious on how you guys can be here saying on TV child safety when you've been the one that pretty much creating my son's hostile school environment since last year when I put you out on blast. You need to tell Danny Bahara to quit. And Tim from City Council says, hi, how are you doing today? Have a good day, guys.
So again, this is public comment on consent agenda items. And Mr. Bayliss, go ahead and let us know before you speak on the item, what item it is. Again, you can only speak on the item on the...
So first, I guess I will address 306 since I see all the nice little harbor people here. So my son was arrested back in Fremont when he supposedly did a terroristic threat. Charges were dismissed. But when I reached out to the harbors for help to find out what happened, when I reached out to CCPD, what happened, even when I reached out to the superintendents, what happened. Remember when I addressed the Brian Brill and he asked Jordan he wasn't going to do nothing? Yeah, same situation. So basically, that was never addressed. It was never mentioned in my son's school report. During our due process with Danny Bahara, they tried to say the arrest record didn't exist. But yet, I traded a mocha latte for it.
Can you circle back to the agreement?
306 for the juvenile justice?
Yeah, your comments on the agreement.
Yeah, I was just asking where my son's justice is. This is juvenile, right? He got punched in the face January 10th, he got beat down. Where's his justice? Y'all are asking for money. Where is his justice? He hasn't got no help from almost 6 years. Ever since when he got sexually assaulted and all got great. Where is my son's justice? Why are you asking for money if you're not doing it? I keep addressing you guys. $23 million for child safety. What about that child? Again, you cannot say you're not leaving no kid behind when you're forgetting this one. You cannot be asking for money for our governments when you're ignoring children on an open basis. S.P.E.D program, mine. Luke knows about it. The situation is, your very man of director of compliance was the very man that they tried to hide the arrest report, but you guys are asking for money for justice. If the person that's in charge of your due process is the one breaking the law, how about doing justice? I see some beautiful gentlemen here that I know that, but they can't do nothing because certain individual remains nameless, kind of has a leash on a lot of people with those great agreements. And just like when I reached out to the harbor about help for my son's situation, there's nothing they could do. You know why? $400,000. And when you get that money, you have to sign a little disclosure. AK, their hands are tied. Nothing they can do. It's up to y'all. It's up to him. The very man I got off this board once, and then he had to pay to get his way back.
Mr. Bayliss, you're on all these items, so.
Oh, I know. They're all pretty much addressed to this gentleman because he's the one pocketing most of the money.
Okay. Did you want to comment?
Yeah. So basically, I agree with a lot of the situations with you guys, and a lot of situations I don't. But when you guys are asking government money for obviously a S.P.E.D student right here that you guys have forgotten, when you go around TV saying no child left behind, you guys are ludicrous. Like straight up beyond moral compass, that thing broke. You guys really need to quit asking for money if you're not prepared to take care of our kids. You have a good day.
Thank you. Jamie Trudinsky.
Sorry, I was muted. Let's begin or continue the article. I mean, because we all saw that. Okay, so that's what he's talking about. That's for specifically for what his grievances are, but this goes much further than that, folks. For this article, we will focus on. Oh, hold on. You know what? Let me reshare my screen. There we go. For this article, we will focus on the chain of events that occurred at this board of Clark County School District School Board Trustees meeting, which was held on Thursday, August 11th, 2022. Okay, never mind. Oh yeah, okay, here we go. Yeah, okay, I got it. August 11th, 2022 at 5 p.m. PST, and how they pertain to James Bayliss' story, in addition to how it is relevant to the corruption occurring in the CCSD legal system. I arrived at the meeting 30 minutes early in order to see all the players as they arrived to the meeting. Oh, I already read this, didn't I, folks? Did I read this, you guys? I can't remember. I could not remember, honestly.
I just read it, so I feel like maybe.
Oh shit! Oh, you know what? We'll just freaking read the whole thing. Screw it.
Maybe
For those who just joined, let's do that. Okay. Anyway, sorry you guys. It's been a busy week. Had a lot going on, so forgive the fatigue I'm going through right now. I arrived at the meeting 30 minutes early in order to see all the players as they arrived to the meeting. Among those were several parents with grievances, Mr. Bayliss included. Some parents even had their advocates there to back them up, which in my opinion is a critical component to keeping violations of due process at bay. The harbor was there as well to witness this occasion, in addition to several students that were there. The meeting started off with everyone standing and citing the Pledge of Allegiance. Do they even have students in CCSD do this anymore? Followed by an intro performed by the ROTC program.
Okay, yeah.
The meeting then segued into the public comment portion of the meeting, where those airing their grievances during public speaking is given 2 minutes to voice their grievances. I would like to point out that while having very similar grievances to other parents, Mr. Bayliss's approach to ensuring accountability and exposing this corruption in the CCSD legal system for due process for S.P.E.D, and S.P.E.D stands for Special Education Department. That's what it stands for, you guys. It's an acronym. Has been well above par throughout this fight, in addition to being entirely unique, as well as being highly effective. In fact, it is my firm belief that what Mr. Bayliss has accomplished here at this meeting is a truly historic moment and will set the standard for how parents can fight back against this school board and teachers unions corruption and overreach all over the country to take back our schools. Mr. Bayliss has figured out a way to beat these misguided souls who have lost their way at their own game, and I, for one, feel blessed to be able to break this story and be right here on the front lines with this man, helping him to expose these crooked board members and take back our schools. I would like to begin this exposure on the corruption with this. Okay, we did read all this, but no matter. We just did it again for those who just joined. Begin this exposure on the corruption in the CCSD legal system for due process for S.P.E.D with Mr. James Bayliss's grievances that he brought up at the meeting last Thursday, and we just viewed that, so you guys have already seen that. I spoke with Mr. Bayliss today about what he revealed and exposed. Here's what he had to say regarding the CCSD legal system for due process for S.P.E.D, legal action and court system corruption. If kids are hurt at school, they never report it. Daniel Ebihara makes sure of that. Local law enforcement will lift a finger to go after you, but they won't lift a finger to help. And that's a quote as of yesterday, August 13th, 2022. Here's another one. Mr. Bayliss was also quoted making the following point when referring to his son, Ian Bayliss. No kid left behind, but what about this one? That was also quoted August 13th, 2022. And finally, he quoted this when I talked to him. When I asked Mr. Bayliss how he managed to expose the corruption in the CCSD legal system for due process for S.P.E.D, this is what he said. I played a big game of shadow games. I gave them enough rope to hang themselves, and when they scrambled, they exposed themselves. They get all this money for child safety, but what child is really safe? We send our kids to school for education and safety, but where's the safety or education? As long as they are sitting in those seats getting educated or not, they get paid. And that was quoted August 13th, 2022, yesterday. I highly recommend watching the full compilation of all the public speakers that we got on film for context. And there's all the really, really important, relevant ones to this cause as well. I got all the most important stuff. Unfortunately, my phone, both my backup and my primary one that I was recording with, both died before we got to get to the very last part of the meeting, which I described at the last part of the article for context, because I think it's important you guys hear what I witnessed from my perspective, because I was there. Anyway, so I just wanted to touch on that real quick. By the end of the board meeting, Mr. James Bayliss was called to speak once more, after having had his voice attempted to be silenced by the board multiple times, before finally being allowed to speak his final grievance. The moment he tried to call them out and make his last point, they silenced him and refused to hear what he had to say. In addition, the board proceeded to vote on whether or not to move the public comment portion of the to the end of the board meetings. This is in non-compliance with local and federal law. I could not believe my eyes at what I was witnessing in my own city. They were literally voting on whether or not to actively suppress the public's voice, which is a clear violation of the First Amendment. In addition, this is very telling for how the CCSD legal system for due process for S.P.E.D operates. You see, what most people don't realize is this: behind the scenes, conflicts of interest, racketeering, and much more is occurring. In fact, from what Mr. Bayliss has uncovered and shown me, these suits were getting what appeared to be payoffs from the CCSD Board of Trustees. The main point here is that the money appears to be coming in through the campaign contributions. Here is the evidence as an embedded PDF. Note, the links on pages 1 and 3 will take you directly to the Aurora Campaign Finance Disclosure portal on the web. Okay, so here's an example. You guys, look how useful this resource is. Takes you right to where you need to go to prove what you need to prove. Right there. Boom. So there's your guys' evidence. I encourage our audience to go through and look at everything he's got. This is just one document. Go ahead.
What website was that again?
This is through like one of our public and our government websites here in Nevada for like, the ones that, how whenever they have like, campaign, they have to put all that on record for finances and IRS and all that shit, like there's a process to that. What's going on here is there's obvious conflicts of interest with this funding. It seems to be going in through the campaign contribution. So that's just one. That's that portion of evidence right there, which I've embedded. But I've also got a Google Drive link at the bottom that has everything he's got.
Got it.
Closes the whole freaking thing. Ties it all down. Let's see.
Hey, Steven,
Hold on.
you copy
Go ahead.
them and send them? Can you copy those links and send them over to me sometime so I can look at them?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I'll send them to
Thank
everybody.
you.
They'll be on the they're actually on I believe they're on the article the description too. So you can
Where would
see
I find that on?
and
the-
whatever on the Facebook Live or whatever. Look in the description. You'll have the links there. I believe we did put them in there. Yeah, I
Okay.
did. It's
Right.
just it's the Google Drive link that has everything, and then the first one is the article.
Okay, and that would be on Facebook. Great.
Yeah, Facebook, Rumble, whatever platform we're on that you're looking at. All right, let's finish up
All
this
right, sounds
article
good.
because this
Thank
is
you.
good, you guys. This is important. I think I want everybody to hear this. All right. In fact, from what Mr. Bayliss has uncovered and shown me, these suits were getting what appears to be payoffs from the CCSD Board of Trustees. The main point here is that the money appears to be coming in through the campaign contributions. Here's the evidence as an embedded PDF. Note, the links on pages 1 and 3 will take you directly to the Aurora Campaign Finance Disclosure portal on the web. Okay, so we got that first link I just showed you guys. We got a few over here on page 3. Okay, and a couple, and here's the really, really interesting here. So here's advanced micro targeting. What's that supposed to mean? What's really going on here, folks? What is that? That kind of sounds to me like targeting, if you catch my drift. Like Somebody's offering. I don't know. If anybody can tell me, that would be great. I just know I find that kind of sketchy that that's the title of what this is all, what this particular this thing is for. I don't like that. That sounds really. What do you guys think? That looks really sketchy, don't you think?
That's very interesting.
Yeah, makes you wonder.
Micro targeting. Now I've noticed that
Micro tagging. That don't sound very good.
micro targeting, and
Micro
Sounds a little
targeting.
risky.
they have been using that word for a minute now. I've been finding it in their books, targeting.
Really?
They've been targeting clusters of the population, correct?
Wow. So that's what they're really talking about then.
Yeah, we are targeting clusters of the
Wow.
population.
I figured something like that was going on, but this is like right there. Like this, they don't even try to hide this
We don't
one.
even hide it anymore. It's fascinating.
It is fascinating. Sorry, you guys.
Well,
I had to reopen the
I
restream
know the
page. I accidentally closed out of it. But anyway, so that's just that. And
I
then
know the
let's go back.
daycare that we checked in for our two daughters, they said something about targeting too.
Oh wow. All right, so let's finish up this article. There's only a couple more paragraphs here, and it's important. I want to finish this up because this is really relevant, you guys. I think it'll give us a template to fight back throughout. You know, it's a standard that we can approach it at and fight back and take back our school board. So, all right, where were we at? Okay, so I showed the links. On a side note regarding the violations of the First Amendment, the whole point of the public comment section, it being at the beginning, is this: to ensure that the people who those board members are supposed to represent have their voices and grievances heard. The fact that they tried to actually vote to move it to the end of the meeting is in itself a conflict of interest. What happened next was truly a sight to behold, and in my opinion, historic. The moment Madam President Irene A. S.P.E.D of CCSD asked the question aloud to the other board members, mind you, I am paraphrasing here from memory, if we vote to move the public comment section to the end, will we be in compliance? The answer to which should be self-explanatory and obvious, especially to those representatives on this board. The moment that question was uttered aloud by S.P.E.D was the moment I noticed the suits get up out of their seats and leave the board meeting. Shortly thereafter, I noticed the harbor representatives, upon realizing the other suits were gone, get up out of their seats as well and leave. The director of the harbor was sitting right in front of me. The main takeaway and lesson here is that we can effectively now boycott these kind of corrupt institutions. By exposing racketeering and fraud in these kind of institutions and calling them out when their qualification and review for their grant money is to be renewed or granted, we can effectively and rightfully so cost these corrupt institutions their federal and state grant money by exposing their corruption. This in effect is a boycott by proxy. And it is my firm belief we can use this strategy to take back our school boards and other institutions all across the country from this corruption. Provided below is a Google Drive
Hey,
link to the evidence
Steven.
Mr. Bayliss has found. Hold on one second. Let me finish the article. Has found that ties it all together. Remember, folks, follow the money. All right, go ahead. All right, that's all. Go ahead, Liz.
I gotta jump off quick because I got a text message too that they gotta take Jasmine to the hospital. So
Okay,
supposed
no
to call
worries.
the caseworker. I don't know what's going on.
All right, no worries. No
All right,
worries.
just
Call us.
wanna let you know.
We'll touch
Thank
base with us
you.
later, okay?
I'll jump back on if I get a chance.
All right, sounds good. All right, take care, okay? Well, let's do this. What do you, let's have a little back and forth. What do you guys think about that? What do you think about that, Desiree? Dottie, what do you think about that?
I think it's fantastic that he stood up to them and did that, and then did all the groundwork that the FBI is supposed to do and found out.
Right, dude. It's like we're having to do these bastards' jobs for them. It's ridiculous.
It really is. A lot of us have been doing the groundwork for the FBI, and it's absolutely ridiculous because all we ask for is these people just to do their job, just to do their
Right.
job, just to do what's in their parameters, wear one hat, not 20.
Right.
And it's that simple. And it seems to be an impossibility at the moment for many people. So I think
Right.
it's fantastic to volunteer his time to correct an issue that goes beyond his son. It expands through his son's community and peers and his future. So it's absolutely incredible that he was able to accomplish.
Right. I mean, that's unheard of. Like, dude, like he's straight tactical with that. I swear. I mean, was a kill shot, metaphorically speaking, for exposing this kind of corruption and at least fighting back and exposing this kind of corruption to where it can be given the legal the light of day it needs to be able to be looked at to be have people be held accountable, under the law.
Really, it is that simple, just to do your job, only your job. Please.
Exactly.
I mean, come on, is it that hard?
Is it that hard to do your job and follow the premise of the freaking Constitution, you bastards? Come on now.
I know, I don't get it. It's like a whole world that I'm not familiar with. It seems like there's a whole country here that we don't recognize anymore, huh?
It's because it's not the same country it was. It's been
Yeah,
hijacked.
yeah, absolutely. I suppose I have to remember that. I do know that. But yeah, it's incredible that he was able to accomplish that and was safe during this whole process, because you have to know how unsafe it can be going up.
Oh
against-
yeah. Oh yeah.
You can lose everything, all your resources, you guys. They will attack you with code enforcement, taxes, your job. They'll call your job. They'll double your bills. Remember, they control all of that. So what he did was basically put everything online to go against these people. It's not just standing up and talking.
Yes, definitely.
A
What do
lot
you
more.
think about it? No, go ahead. Finish your thought, Desiree.
There's a lot more to it. A lot more.
Agreed. What do you think about all that, Dottie?
I think he should be proud of himself, standing up like that in a
Hell
company.
yeah.
What he did, it takes a certain kind of person. Not everybody can do that. You know what I mean?
It really does. It,
so many
it
people are
takes
so afraid.
perseverance. Takes
Mhm.
perseverance and somebody with fortitude to pull that off.
Yeah, no, he should be really proud of himself. His son should be proud of his dad, and he should be proud of his son for fighting.
Right. No, I'm damn man. As one of his his best buddies. I'm fucking proud of him. My damn self. Shit. I didn't even know his strategy until like a couple weeks ago, you guys. Okay, so he was playing his cards that close to the vest, but mission accomplished, at least for now. This is still a long battle, far from being over, but we're making headway, folks. That's the point.
We're
Here.
over the threshold, that's for sure.
Yes,
We are over that threshold.
we're
Which is-
providing enough pushback and exposure for making these people like turn tail and run. Basically, is what's going on. It looks, just based on the fact that all the suits like walked out, took their congratulations balloons and baskets and fucking tucked their tails behind them, their legs, and freaking walked out the back door, but went before anybody noticed.
Needed them to leave early.
Yeah, I know, right? But that's a beautiful sight to behold, when somebody's able to pull that off on that level, when we know there's racketeering going on and we can prove it. It's so obvious. I mean, come on.
Right. And like I said, it's a good timing because California Insider just did an interview with a teacher that was having the same issues with the boards here, as far as their money being put towards campaigns and not being able to get accountability for the money that the teachers' dues go to. So yeah, they're having the same issues there. Oh, and the California Teachers Union, I believe it was the Teachers Union, here, right next door to me, is the ones that sent the FBI that letter that made them attack all those parents.
Oh yeah, no, I know. They're targeting, they're weaponizing. If they weaponize the FBI to go after parents that are speaking at school boards, you guys, like what? That should have been the constitutional crisis. But I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, this definitely is with what went on the last couple of weeks. Last week. This is like ridiculous.
prior to that FBI insight where they started targeting parents, about a week or two prior to that, the Department of Homeland Security got a letter about them creating domestic terrorists within because of what they're doing with the corruption. Just an
Yeah.
FYI.
They did that to so they could like point. Oh, here they in fact created those that they're gonna use as patsies to freaking to smear the to promote their agenda. Yeah, no, that's an obvious play though. At this point, I think most of us see that. I know I do.
Yeah, Homeland Security was told that basically if you guys don't step it up because you're the only other ones with jurisdiction,
Mhm.
creating all these domestic terrorists as parents, because of what you're doing with CPS and family courts and all that stuff. And then a week or two later, the FBI did that. So
Yeah, and it's crazy how this is how this is. It's just like where we've come. It's like, what did you ever imagine we'd be fighting communist Marxism and right in this year? Like where the hell did we go? Like how did it's like it's like we woke up and now all of a sudden we're living in 1984.
right. Or even- who knows
Like
when.
literally, we're living it now, pretty much.
Yeah, it's unrecognizable, or it's because everybody's finally seeing it is the other angle. Because
Right. It's both. I think a lot because because we're whole people are what they call the Great Awakening is more than just a concept. It's like if you look around, you see there's indicators everywhere. People are waking up in masses. I mean, look at the poll, the ratings for the mainstream media. I mean, even one MSNBC reporter was went on video and was like, we need to really question if we're doing more harm than good at one point. And it's like all over. It's those of us in the alternative media have become the mainstream media, more or less. I mean, everybody's going to us now. I mean, my shit's blown up. I know everybody else I talk to that's in this movement, their shit's getting numbers like crazy too. It's getting bigger and bigger by the day. And it's just, wow, it's such a beauty to behold. I feel so humbled to be part of this historic movement,
right,
That's awesome.
it is. And I can't even hear mainstream anymore, honestly.
I don't think most people can at this point.
Can't stand it. I mean, it's just the tone. Even just their tone is so fake. The way that- It's like I can't talk like that if I tried.
Right. Because it wouldn't be you. You wouldn't be able. Yeah, that could never sit right with me if I ever was like that. I wouldn't be right with myself.
Do you
Or
ever
maybe that's
wonder?
because we have empathy and they don't. I don't know. Just hypothesizing there for a second.
Do either one of you ever just think, how did I miss this before?
Right. No, all the
how did
time. I'm
this
like,
get past me for so
I
long?
wake up now and I'm like, this is real. Holy shit. Every
Yeah,
day,
but like
every morning I'm
watching
waking up and I'm like,
something-
whoa, we're literally living this. This is like, what the fuck happened? Excuse my language.
No, I'm talking about like when you've like turned on the news and you're watching it. And you're like, how did I get tricked by this stuff?
I honestly do. I never really give a shit for the mainstream for all as far as I can remember, but like I do. I honestly like I guess I'm to some extent like I remember when I was in high school, my best friend would tell me, why don't you watch the news? And I said, because why am I going to put my energy into that kind of a fear mindset? Kind of like deal. I think I caught on early on. I don't really like to, but I do. I mean, I would watch it. I remember it was a point when I was after that, when I was like in my early 20s where I was doing that, like early 2000s and shit, like the early, whenever the 04 election was around that time, and I was like, I totally bought into the whole DNC's freaking agenda, and I was like, I had no clue. And then 2016 happened, and we all found out what happened in Benghazi. I was like, oh fuck that shit. These people are freaking war criminals. These people are committing mass, horrific crimes. So why would I support that? And so like that, and then he, Trump got elected, and then all we see those whole 4 years, everybody just dogging him nonstop, dude, like barraging with. Why are they doing that? You've never seen that level of hate, I don't think, ever in our history. In any like it's never been that directed like that, and so something changed for me. It was like, what the something different. There's a different dynamic going on here that we're not seeing.
I noticed that too, that there was a hatred in a lot of people. It was very bias formed and driven. Just in general, I mean, just going somewhere shopping or whatever, customer service had dropped drastically and people litter more. And it's just impersonal and un-American, very un-American in my view, a lot of the things.
Right. It goes against everything our constitutional republic was founded on.
Right. And people had forgotten and started making up their own, corporations started making up their own rules.
It's exactly who it was, the corporations.
Home Depot, for example, started making up their own rules with gift cards. And
see, what I think the dynamic we've got here right now is and during World War II era, it was government fascism. Now, well, government fascism and possibly communist Marxism, but right now it's corporate. It's corporate. So it's been flipped upside down. Instead of the government, ones being pushing, it's the corporations that are calling the shots through the money, and they're controlling the government. Because if you think about it, the Federal Reserve is not really a federal institution. It's a debt system that it's a privatized bank cartel, and what they do is they loan money to governments at 100% interest. But what they don't ever do is print the interest. So that everybody that owes them is in perpetual debt. We're all debts. We live in a debt-based economy. We're debt slaves. Most people don't realize that. But that's the economy we've had for what, like the last 30, 40 years, more maybe longer. What, right, Desiree?
Yeah.
Well, longer than that, even. No, since the 1800s at least, since it was founded, since
Go
the
ahead.
Federal Reserve was put into place.
Go ahead, lend me all the money you want.
Right. Yeah, I got some swampland I want to sell you too, by the way.
Yeah,
But yeah,
the identity theft. Go ahead, steal my identity and make my credit better, please.
right. Yeah, that doesn't ever happen. It's the opposite of that, I think. Yeah.
Sorry to get off track.
No, you're fine. You're fine. That was a good one though. So why don't we just play this and re-record the board meeting that we got for now, and while I try and get a hold of James and see what's going on, okay? Because I really want to get him on here so we can tell his story.
Sounds good.
All right, let me share my screen. Here we go.
You on the line? Trustee Ford, can you say yay or something? Are you here? Okay, we'll go ahead and get our meeting started. I'd like to welcome everyone today. My name is Irene Cepeda. I would like to call this regular board meeting of August 11th to order. The time is 5:03. All right, quick reminder to please silence your electronic devices.
Left leg, march. Forward, halt. Raise that, nose.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ready, nose. Left leg, march. Forward, march.
You may all be seated.
All the seats in the audience is what you wanted.
Yeah, I know.
I am a little rusty at this. It's been a summer without our color guard. Now that school's back. The presentation of the colors, again, was by the Rancho ROTC, led by, with folks, the Cadet Lieutenant Colonel, sometimes language here, Autumn Norris, Cadet Senior Airman Ashley Martinez, Cadet Staff Sergeant Prince Villa Garcia, Cadet Senior Airman Edgar Melgar, Cadet Master Sergeant Cameron Valdez Easley, and Lieutenant Colonel Mike Richmond. Again, thanks to the Rancho High School ROTC, and apologies for getting my not being able to spit these words out. We have now moving on to agenda item 1.02, adoption of the agenda. Trustee Guzman.
Thank you. Madam President, members of the board, I would like to make a motion to adopt the agenda and addendum with the following changes. Reference material is provided for item 4.02, multi-tiered system of supports, tier 1 expectations.
All right, thank you, Trustee Guzman. Trustee Garcia Morales.
Second.
Thank you, trustees. We have a motion by Trustee Guzman and a second by Trustee Garcia Morales. Go ahead and cast your votes. Trustee Ford, have you joined us?
Yes, aye.
Okay, aye. All right, motion passes 7-0. Noting that Trustee Ford is online. All right, trustees, we'll move on to agenda item 2.0, public comment on non-agenda items. Should a member of the public wish to speak on matters within the jurisdiction of the board not listed as action items on the agenda, they may speak during the public comment period on non-agenda items. Speakers will be given 2 minutes to address the board during this time. Public comment during this agenda item shall not exceed 20 minutes. If there are still members of the public wishing to address the board, after the allotted 20 minutes, I will be able to address the board during agenda item 5.01, public comment period on non-agenda items. The public should be aware that the board is unable to deliberate or take action on items raised during the public comment period on non-agenda items. With that, we have a couple folks who have signed up ahead of time, and we'll start with Kelly Walkup. Autumn Tampa. Then Jose Solorio.
Make funny noises tonight. Autumn Tampa, speaking as an individual. I wonder if we'd save a little bit of money if all the men took off their suit jackets. I shouldn't say men. Everyone took off their suit jackets and we raised the AC a little bit. Might save a little money. Anyway, I'm always freezing. I went through the metal detector tonight and I feel really sad that we have to do that. Years ago, I was invasively searched by TSA and that traumatized me. And so every time I go through your metal detector, I get nervous, I get shaky, even though I know I haven't done anything wrong. And I just want to let you know that I feel that way because it makes me feel like I'm a criminal before, I've done anything wrong. The other thing I wanted to talk about is this concept of professionalism and my definition of what professional is. First of all, professional is when you get paid to do a job that you might otherwise do as a hobby or something. And secondly, I think people who are professional have integrity, have good communication skills. The job that they're hired for, they're well-versed or learning. They have honesty, they have acceptance of others. They have good, ways of accepting people who are different than them. They know how to collaborate. There's all different things that have to do with professionalism. And yet I know that there is an emphasis on dress. And I really think that that might have a little bit of something to do with professionalism, how you look, but I think it's more how you act that actually makes you professional. And I know a lot of support staff are a little bit upset about that, so I'm letting you know. The other thing that I think we really, really need to do is still, we haven't done it, give substitute teachers benefits, healthcare benefits and sick days. You've given the pay raises and those are wonderful. I would become a substitute teacher if you gave us benefits, and a lot of other people would also. So I wanted to let you know that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jose Solorio, followed by James Bayliss.
My name is Jose Solorio. I'm up here with my granddaughter, Sophia Ramirez. And so I want to share the time with her. So let them know what your name is.
My name's Sophia Ramirez.
Okay, and what school do you go to?
Durham Elementary.
What grade are you in?
4.
Do you like your school?
I love my school.
All right. If you could change a couple things at your school, what would it be?
To have better food like Mexican food, real Mexican food.
And what else?
To stop bullying.
Okay. So those are a couple things she shared with me earlier, and I just thought that I'd introduce her into the ability to communicate what one believes with people that can make a change. So Sophia Ramirez, my granddaughter, lives with us, my wife and I. So I wanted to talk about CCSD community communication. Having sat on your seat for a while, a while back in the 90s, a long time ago. There are so many issues that the school district faces, and communication with our community is critical. Unfortunately, a lot of our community believes that you all sit up there, you have total control of the budget, where it comes from, how you spend it, how much you get, and so when you all are blamed, and the superintendent are blamed for not paying enough, and not having safe schools, et cetera, we are limited in our budget by what the legislature provides each school board. And I think the community needs to know that. And also, another community issue is how do we take our issues and get them resolved? And coming to the school board isn't usually one of them. There's a different process. Have a handout. Thank you very much.
Thank you. James Bayliss, followed by Rebecca Bond.
Hi, James Bayliss for the record. This is pretty much just addressing what's been going on with my due process since I fired my lawyer on Monday. Danny Bahara botched up my transfer. He waited until the last minutes of before school started to give me to sign those lovely disclosure agreements you all know about. He's notorious for them. So I would like to address the factor that my kid's still at home because of what happened January 10th and nobody's addressed nothing. It's been complete dead silence. Bustamani's told the whole school not to talk to me. And there ain't nothing nobody can do about it because Danny Bahara's on the case and we all know who he works for. So what do you do with the due process? You guys are talking about legal and justice system when you're breaking your own justice system? How the heck does this work? We'll be addressing that later down the line here. And I'm just curious on how you guys can be here saying on TV child safety when you've been the one that pretty much creating my son's hostile school environment since last year when I put you out on blast. You need to tell Danny Bahara to quit. And Tim from City Council says hi, how are you doing today? Have a good day, guys.
Thank you. Rebecca Bond, and then Danielle Goodwin.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Bond. I'm here to speak on, I'm so tall, I think that's okay. I'm here to speak on the lack of transparency when it comes to teacher hiring. This is something that I experienced. I am a retired teacher from the Clark County School District. I worked for 30 years. The last year I worked, which was 2021 to 22, I had some health issues. So my doctor suggested that I take some time off and wrote me a note, and I did do that. And at that time, my principal kind of pressured me a little bit, telling me that if I was going to resign from the district, it'd be better to do it earlier than wait until August, which I agreed with her. I know leaving now put her in a difficult position. So I thought, well, I'll go ahead and resign, and then I can always reapply. So I resigned early so she could fill the position, and I went to doctors, and I'm physically okay now. And I have been reading the news and looking at all the absences, you know, all the teacher vacancies and the subs that are high school graduates, you know, in classrooms, and it really bothers me, and I really have a passion for teaching. So I decided, okay, well, I'm gonna apply for a teaching job. And of course, the first place I applied was the Clark County School District because I worked for you for 30 years. I had all my information in the application, you know, the online application. So I went in and everything was the same in my file except for my last experience and my medical issues that I had it. And I applied and I waited and actually they told me that I needed to apply for a job after I had filled this out. So I decided I'm gonna go back. I have special ed degree. I'm gonna go back, and it's a really high needs to, that's it, okay. Well, my concerns, they never got back with me. My application was rejected for the district. I had no knowledge of why. I'm not calling for that.
Wow.
Thank you.
Okay, so sorry.
Thank you. Danielle Goodwin, followed by Tom Zumteville.
Nice job.
Hello, Danielle Goodwin. I have a similar concern as our previous speaker. I would be starting my 9th year in the classroom, except for when I applied, my application was rejected from the district. I answered honestly that I was non-renewed from the district in 2018 because I was targeted by an administrator who retaliated against me after I had decided to leave schools after I requested smaller class sizes because I taught in special ed and my workload was just crazy. And I have maintained my innocence. I've actually been working charter up until last year. Took some time off to work on my health. I'm back. Want to get back to teaching and I am without a job. And it's a little triggering because I too look at all the vacancies. I'm an amazing teacher. I'm told that all the time, and I feel like a lie that was told about me 4 years ago is blocking me from getting back to work. And that's one of the things I feel like really hasn't been addressed when administrators retaliate against employees and we don't have that much protection, especially when you're probationary. So I really wanted to know what my options are because I've kept all the documentation from the situation. Like I said, I maintain my innocence. I am experienced, I'm skilled, I'm not a danger to kids, I'm not a criminal, so it makes no sense why I'm not in the classroom at this time.
Thank you. Somtabel, and then we have Alicia Elias.
Good evening, Tom Somtabel, THT, CEO of THT. I came here to give you an update on THT as I do often. We really, a lot of people would say this is a pretty good plan, a pretty good year for a health plan. We eliminated all the debt, we settled all the debt we had moving into this fiscal year, and we actually did it in the process of rebuilding the relationships with the community providers and actually rebuilding the credibility in the community. As a result of these negotiations, we have a settlement with Quest Diagnostic that is going to eliminate any of the billing for the signature plan members in the future. So a lot of the hassles we had about the bills, the teachers, educators will no longer get bills, and we made a lot of progress in that regard. Also, we are still on track to pay down the $35 million loan to the school district, and we appreciate that money, but the projections, we continue to hit the numbers and we're still on track. Bad news is we have premium increases, right? All year long, we were tracking our costs and our expense were consistently 7% below revenue, and we really expected that we were going to have no increases to the teachers this year. Inflation caught us at the end of the year, and it was significant. What we did is we followed the expenses so that the school district does a very good job funding educators, but the school district does not fund families, right? And our expenses were with the families. And so when we redid the premiums, we applied the expenses to the unfunded expense. And it's very hard on families, and we don't feel good about it, but it was appropriate because it's not appropriate to continue to pass this cost on to individual teachers. And so we had to make those changes. The families do have an option now with the Advantage Plan. The school district did fund a $500 seating for the out-of-pocket for the Advantage Plan for single, but $1,000 for families. So they have an additional family, and that's really is a very good plan for families. So we're not happy about the increases, but we really have done some good things this year, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Alicia Elias, and again, apologies if I mispronounced her name. Norma Spurlock. Diana Batista. After Diana, we'll have Tracy Lewis, followed by Stephanie Kingsley.
Diana Batista for the record. I've made numerous attempts time after time to try and get an issue resolved with my son Grayson Batista. I know that you guys have been on the receiving end of emails. I know that you have very little control over a lot of things. I'm doing my best here, but to resolve the concerns regarding my son Grayson Batista and the compensatory education services that were ordered by impartial hearing officer David Stevens and are still owed without the cooperation of CCSD. As a result, you will be receiving a copy today of my demand letter, which will be sent to you via email also, a copy to the superintendent, 2 additional copies for CCSD Attorney Luke Bushnick, as well as Board Attorney Nicole Malik. You have until September 1st, 2022 to comply and meet the demands, or I will be taking you to court for enforcement, not due process. I'm also asking that this is scanned in and made part of the record for today's board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Tracy Lewis, followed by Stephanie Kingsley.
Need a copy of this.
Is Tracy here? Stephanie?
Hi, Stephanie Kinsley, part of My Children's Advocate here. I'm just here to ask questions. You know, I'm just a little housewife from Hendertucky, so I don't get all this stuff. I have people here with so many degrees, and I would just like someone to explain to me the common denominator. Speaking of common core, put in by China and Bill Gates, like this common denominator that happens. There's something, I don't know if it's a Democrat thing, because I don't so much see it so much from Katie, but I see obese people kicking me out for not wearing a mask, which is healthy. Yet I have people with degrees in science and there's a therapist or something who intentionally do things that we all know are harmful. One of the things I would really like to speak out is that how the teachers union spends 5 times more on Democratic donations than they do on the retirement of their teachers. And I said, from what it sounds like if you're an affected teacher, CCSD doesn't want you in the schools. They want the teachers union funding Planned Parenthood, which was set out to kill Black people. Yet and then we're setting young Black kids up for failure with telling them you can't do as well, so we'll just lower the bar for you. When I speak about things that are common sense, like, hey, strong families, self-governance of your body, I get kicked out. I've seen women have their arm dislocated for not wearing a mask. But I'm just a little girl. I've only worked in the common sector or the private sector, so I've never had to just get by on, I've always had to earn my way through life. So I would just like you guys to explain any of your policies and how you vote and back one of them up. Back up the mask mandate. Show me one study that says they're not harmful. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yesenia Gonzalez.
Members of the board, President Cepeda, Dr. Jara. Coming to you guys as a concerned parent because Miss Katie, Mr. Caruso, I've had another regional superintendent actually speak to me because, no surprise, CCSD failed me with my child losing my son's very vital EpiPen. I've got 2 kids with severe anaphylaxis allergies. How a school can lose an EpiPen is beyond me. Give me 3 different stories is beyond me when I am very meticulous on these kind of matters. I try to make contact. I try to collect this medication. To me, communication with the school is very important. And I have not been given that common courtesy. And then when I go to my son's pediatrician, I'm being told that 5 other families have come to my son's pediatrician with the same story. So I'm not the only one that's going through this. So if 5 other families, I can't imagine how many other families have gone through this. So for me, I'd like there to be better communication, not just with my son's school, but just district-wide. An EpiPen can cost $200 to $600. I am very fortunate to have double coverage. Not every family is that fortunate to be told by my son's school that, oh, we have backup pens. Well, that's great, but taxpayers pay for that. Why should I have to be there when I've got the pen already there? I have the CCF forms, the HS documents, and I've got the proof there. But no pen there for my son should there be an emergency in place. He knows how to administer. He has CPR certification. So what happened? Nobody has the answers. Can anybody answer me? Really?
Thank you. Dr. Kyle Rogers.
Oh, they can. Oh, they can. That's bullshit.
All right, thank you. Dr. Kyle Rogers, the record. I'm here once again to talk about issues related to the school to prison pipeline. What I brought you tonight is a form I was given when I was sent to the harbor as a parent. This is a form that I was told is required to be signed to receive services and for my kid's case to not go through the courts. I would like to draw your attention to the second page where I've highlighted in yellow this phrasing. So this is a form, and the title of the form on the first page says authorization to use and disclose protected health information. I'm now going to quote the second page. I also understand the person I am authorizing to use and or disclose the information may receive compensation for the use and or disclosure. So this is the harbor saying they will sell my kid's protected health information.
I just want to point out for our viewers, okay, this is the same, he's talking about the same harbor that was there that I told you guys walked out in the article and whom the director of was sitting right in front of me. And let me just give you a little insight. At one point while I was filming, I seen her turn her head and look directly at me and observe that I was filming and then turn back. So they know they're being watched. I mean, you can tell. They know that we know that they know that we're watching.
And what I want to point out is the harbor, 3 of the 5 harbor locations are run by a for-profit foster organization known as Eagle Quest. When you hear that the harbor is a public-private partnership, the private part of that public-private partnership is the for-profit organization called Eagle Quest. I've said before that I am actually a teacher that works at the Juvenile Detention Center, and I actually work with Eagle Quest on a daily basis. I see them staffed every single day. I have heard from 2 employees, confirmed this from 2 employees, from Eagle Quest employees, that kids who live in there, because they run foster homes and group homes, kids who are in their group homes are required to keep their hair short because it allows them to save money on shampoo. Because every dollar they don't spend on food or groceries or any of those things are dollars that they then get to keep.
And what do you call that, folks? Racketeering.
To profit from. And that is something I've heard from them. I have deep concerns about the harbor and how it is being used and how kids are being sent there. There are other forms that have me deeply concerned besides this information being sold, as it says on this form. I also wanted to just bring your attention real quick to this document from 10 years ago. It was the last time we did a comprehensive look at school prison pipeline. I hope we can do that again in the future.
Thank you. Dr. Rogers, Lorena Cardenas. And trustees, we're at the 10-minute mark. We have like 3 people left. And then Aiden Davey. Go ahead when you're ready.
My name is Lorena Cardenas of My Children's Advocate. It's been exactly 1 year and nothing changed, which is why my children never began kindergarten, never attended first grade with you, but they have learned a lot. My children were not up for grabs. You were not allowed to dig your claws into them, confuse and distort their minds and their impressions of what a man and a woman is. They know that God created 2 genders and that the rainbow only represents a promise from God, not that it promotes sinful behavior, homosexuality, to each their own, but it is not something you're allowed to teach my child and push it into their minds when they're trying to sit there and learn academics, things that will get them to progress in life, reading, writing, science. That has nothing to do with sexuality or being attracted to somebody of the same sex. I don't understand why you feel the need to empower homosexual people to feel freedom to express this to young minds, which it's pretty disgusting. Also, this week you sent out a student inventory where children were to circle their pronouns. Why do you feel this need to further confuse kids? That's what, so parents don't agree with this. What is their option? To pull their kids out, right? They can't have their kids sitting there when you decide that you're going to teach children if they can decide to change their gender. With everything happening in California, we know CCSD is next. Planned Parenthood, you already are adopting their curriculum, Advocates for Youth, and I'm sure you're going to speak on that also. I just want to tell parents, saquen a sus hijos de las escuelas, van a confundir a sus hijos, quieren que sus niños sean niñas, quieren confundir al género de los niños, no voten demócrata. Vote everybody out.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Hold them out.
All right. Thank you. That is your time. Thank you very much.
Back off, bro.
Thank you. That's it.
Don't give him a reason.
Aiden,
Don't give him a
Davey.
reason.
You're good, kid.
After Aiden, we have Sherry Luke and Camila Whitewaters, and that will wrap us up for public comment on agenda items.
Hi everyone, Aiden Davey for the record. So I go to Palo Verde High School. I heard it probably from the teacher that was recently as a court case now.
Aiden, we're working
Sorry.
Sorry, Aiden. Again, from the crowd, when someone's at the podium, it is their time. It is not time to engage with each other. It is the folks at the podium are here to address the board, so we ask for that respect. Continue, Aiden. Thank you.
Okay, I'll bring it back to last year. Last year, lunch, I get sent this email saying that some school start times have been adjusted. I don't think much of it. And then the email says yada yada yada, some schools may be adjusted by 30 minutes backwards, and that this is going to be very few schools. So then, to my surprise, I see that my school has been adjusted by an hour back. I now go to school at 7 a.m. in the morning, meaning I have to wake up at around like 6 to 5:30. And, I don't, scientifically, when a person becomes a teenager, their hormones change, their circadian rhythm changes, and teenagers naturally produce melatonin starting around 11:30. But if I start producing melatonin around, let's say 11:30, and I wake up at 6 to get on a bus at like 6:20, let's say, then I'm getting 6 hours and 30 minutes of sleep, which is by no means optimal for learning. And I know this is because of the fact we don't have enough bus drivers and we can't get kids to this school, and that is why we've been forced to, make sure it starts earlier by an hour. But I just have to say that, if your message is being for the kids, then I feel like this is the exact opposite of what being for the kids is. I don't really feel like I matter too much to hear I'm just one little guy. But I just want to say, I feel like there's things we can do to try and, maybe help the situation.
Thank you, and your voice absolutely matters, especially as you are one of our students. Sherry?
You did great, kid.
And then Camila, and I think we might be able to squeeze in another, but we'll get there. Go ahead when you're ready.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you all for being here. I'm Sherry, a former CCSD student on behalf of my younger sister, who sent me along with the video, so I'll go ahead and play that for you all.
Hello CCSD board members, my name is Amy Liu and I'm a junior in Green Valley High School. I and many of my peers have concerns about the GPA cap. I understand why the cap was reinstated and I empathize with the sentiments, but I have problems with the implementation. First, juniors are facing the same problem as seniors did before the cap was pushed back for them. So in my freshman year without the cap, I had planned my academic schedule to fit as many challenging courses as I could, being valedictorian in the first place. Thus, I urged the CCSD board to consider pushing back the GPA cap for juniors and, as a potential solution, reinstate it starting with the freshman class who are able to plan their academic careers accordingly. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you all.
Thank you. So again, this is public comment on consent agenda items. And Mr. Bayliss, go ahead and let us know before you speak on the item, what item it is. Again, you can only speak on the item on the...
So first, I guess I will address...
Just to want to make a note, this is my buddy right here, you guys, just for everybody's, just for clarification.
306, since I see all the nice little harbor people here. So my son was arrested back in Fremont when he supposedly did a terroristic threat. Charges were dismissed. But when I reached out to the harbors for help to find out what happened, when I reached out to CCPD, what happened, even when I reached out to the superintendents to what happened. Remember when I addressed the Brian Brill and he asked Jordan whether he didn't do nothing? Yeah, same situation. So basically, that was never addressed. It was never mentioned in my son's school report. During our due process with Danny Bahara, they tried to say the arrest record didn't exist. But yet, I traded a mocha latte for it.
Can you circle back to the agreement?
306 for the juvenile justice?
Yeah, your comments on the agreement.
Yeah, I was just asking where my son's justice is. This is juvenile, right? He got punched in the face January 10th, he got beat down. Where's his justice? Y'all are asking for money. Where is his justice? He hasn't got no help from for almost 6 years. Ever since when he got sexually assaulted, it all got great. Where is my son's justice? Why are you asking for money if you're not doing it? I keep addressing you guys. $23 million for child safety. What about that child? Again, you cannot say you're not leaving no kid behind when you're forgetting this one. You cannot be asking for money for our governments when you're ignoring children on an open basis. S.P.E.D program, mine. Luke knows about it. The situation is, your very man of director of compliance was the very man that they tried to hide the arrest report, but you guys are asking for money for justice. If the person that's in charge of your due process is the one breaking the law, how about doing justice? I see some beautiful gentlemen here that I know but they can't do nothing because certain individual remains nameless, kind of has a leash on a lot of people with those great agreements. And just like when I reached out to the harbor about help for
Folks, that's Jara right there on the far left, just for clarification.
My son's situation, there's nothing they could do. You know why? $400,000. And when you get that money, you have to sign a little disclosure. AKA, their hands are tied. Nothing they can do. It's up to y'all. It's up to him. The very man I got off this board once, and then he had to pay to get his way back.
Mr. Bayliss, you're on all these items, so.
Oh, I know. They're all pretty much addressed to this gentleman because he's the one pocketing most of the money.
Okay. Did you want to comment?
Yeah. So basically, I agree with a lot of the situations with you guys, and a lot of situations I don't. But when you guys are asking government money for obviously a S.P.E.D student right here that you guys have forgotten, when you go around TV saying no child left behind, you guys are ludicrous. Like straight up beyond moral compass, that thing broke. You guys really need to quit asking for money if you're not prepared to take care of our kids. You have a good day.
Thank you. Jamie Trudinsky.
Okay, for the record, my name is Jamie Trudinsky. I'm going to be speaking on items 3.08, 3.09, 312, 313, and 325. So, I started my 11th year in education on Monday and the 8th year in CCSD. Over the past 2 years, I've seen several of my friends and colleagues leave CCSD. Oftentimes I thought about joining them, but then who would be here to show up in rainbows and call you to order? Very few of us remain because we feel hopeless, discouraged, and disgusted by the way educators and students are treated in this district from all angles. We have tried to bring more voices to the boardroom, but many people see it as a waste of time. I think sometimes I might just annoy.
I just want to point out here that, this is all across the board. People of all walks of life are pissed and they see what's going on and they're fed up. And that's why we have this young lady speaking here and speaking out her grievances. And I despite her points of view, I have a lot of admiration and respect for anybody that speaks out against this kind of corruption, because people have a right to know and people have a right to have due process. And I think everybody's voice has a right to be heard. And I just want to point that out for our viewers. Go ahead. Here we go.
I signed up to speak on 5 items.
I think what we need is unity above all before we can even have any kind of change here. And I think that's going to be a critical component. And so I think we have to find the things that unite us so we can actually affect the change that we need.
Tonight, and it looks like if someone can have your way, it'll be the last opportunity to do so. I spend my Thursdays here because I care. I care about the kids in my school. the communities in which I live and work, my colleagues, and myself. I want to address 3.08, which is the chronic absenteeism and the data shared with the Department of Juvenile Justice Systems. This measure, if passed, would be in effect until 2027. I want the trustees to be cognizant of the reasons that students are out of school, and this document doesn't seem to address it. The only resource it offers is the Harbor, which boasts a 90% success rate, but I would like to see the data on that and also alternatives to that program. I have students who have chronic absenteeism because they're helping support their families. As teenagers, that shouldn't be their role, but we know that is the reality for many of our families. We need to be more proactive in providing resources to families so that students can focus on their education. To be honest, I signed up to speak on 3.09, the request for the approval of materials for the sex ed curriculum, because I know it makes the foolish parent groups who have their heads buried in the ground mad. Have you read the resources that they discuss? Like, actually look at the board documents. Every time there's material in there that they don't approve, they don't approve some material because they as a committee find it unnecessary for our students. And I agree with that. Some of that material is inappropriate for our students, and they act appropriately. Every time I've looked at those documents, there's been stuff they've approved, there's been stuff they haven't approved. Certain groups would like to have you believe that we are teaching students to build abortion clinics out behind our tennis courts. And if you don't believe that, people are peddling that tale. I invite you to go rewatch the education legislative meeting from this past Tuesday. The point being, our students are not being indoctrinated on the gay agenda. We aren't forcing our kids to be trans. Ignorance is bliss for some people in this audience, and ignorance is more dangerous than any book could ever be. I encourage people to spend more time reading the actual board docs and less time listening to MTNC grants on Instagram. 312, licensed personnel. We hired more teachers. Huzzah, great. Not enough, not nearly enough. We have schools with vacancies in the double digits. How can an elementary school function with 15 open positions? A high school with 22? How is the math department successful when half the department is missing? Why are our kids suffering because we have to cut classes kids enjoy because we can't even cover the basic core classes? We have to cut classes that keep kids in school. We have to cut the electives that they enjoy, that they want to be, because we have to tell elective teachers, sorry, you're double certified, we need you here. So we cut a class that a teacher enjoys, we cut a class that kids enjoy, the kids don't want to be at school anymore. So that circles back to that chronic absenteeism. Why be in a place you don't want to be at? Why be in a place where you don't feel welcome at? And when we're cutting these programs because we don't have the manpower, we're disenfranchising our kids. Some of those kids are in programs that will keep them in there. When we cut a culinary program because we don't have the staff, right, that kid, we lose that kid. And that kid could have gone on to get amazing training and become an amazing chef, but they're not going to come to school because they don't see the work, because we cut those programs.
I just want to point out, when I was in high school, in Valley High School back in the day, in like the early 2000s, 2001-ish. I remember they were talking about cutting the music programs and the theater programs back then. And that was like when all this started, cutting a budget and shit started train rolling. But from what this young woman's telling us, it sounds like it just got a whole lot worse into where it is today. But I'm not surprised. I mean, anyways, I just wanted to give that context from my own perspective because I think it's relevant.
Because we don't have the people. I have colleagues who have classes of 50 plus kids. At what point do we look at that and say, hey, there's a problem? You can't reach 50 kids in a classroom. You can't get through a roster of 50 kids in under 10 minutes. You can't sit 50 kids in a classroom. We're harming our kids, we're harming our staff. So 313, class size reduction. Too many kids, so many kids. Why are there so many kids in our classes? Classes of 40 or more, 50 or more kids. Schools, again, missing upwards of 22 teachers. So that's pretty cool. Least restrictive environment for no one in that scenario. That's definitely not what equality or equity looks like unless we're all suffering together. And then 3.25, I'm going to save the best for last here. I'm not surprised, honestly, that there's movement to restrict our time at the podium. I think it's being made abundantly clear month after month that we are speaking into the wind. If you have to take time to listen to me here, it's less time you have to be a troll on Twitter, right? But here's the thing, why? Why don't you care about what we have to say? Right, that's exactly what you're saying if you vote in favor to limit how and when we can comment. I sat here until 1 a.m. in the morning. No one told me to pack for a sleepover. I just sat here in my street clothes because the people deserve to be heard. And oftentimes, I don't agree with a lot of people, right? But we all deserve to be heard.
Right.
And some people abuse this, right? If you sign up for every single item, I don't think your intentions are great, but what the public has to say matters, and you're trying to silence us. Putting public comment at the end disenfranchises students who come to speak and teachers who wake up early. My report time is 6:30 this year, so I'm going to roll in school tomorrow, heavily caffeinated, before most of you are even awake tomorrow. But I'm here, limiting this portion to only 3 minutes. Let us say what we have to say. I think it's a disgusting move to censor the public, and if you vote in favor of it, you need to deeply reflect on why you wanted to be elected to serve a public you are only too happy to ignore. As someone who has been directly targeted because I speak here, why silence us? I've been cornered in the bathroom here, I've been followed to my car, I've had idiots with megaphones attack me outside. You limiting our ability to speak won't stop the hate, you'll only move it underground. Limiting us is not the move here. Thank you.
I'm very grateful for it. As far as this item, I am against it 100%. I am changes, mostly because I believe that you are trying to silence people. You're trying to manipulate and control, and I don't approve of that. I've been coming here for years and years and years, and I believe everyone should have the opportunity to speak. Speak their truth, no matter what. If you make people wait till the end, people who are employees of the school district, parents, students, community members, it's a disrespect. It's a very definite disrespect to us. You guys go after you chose to be. We come here and we want to have our opportunity. But I don't want to sit there for 5 hours after working all day, not be able to eat or drink anything, and then I get invasively searched coming in. But this is just wrong. It's very, very wrong. And I went off script a little bit, but I'm speaking from my heart. And I will let you know that if you vote to approve this, is that every single trustee that votes to approve this, I am going to actively campaign against, because I feel that strongly. I feel like more and more our individual freedoms and rights are being taken away.
They are.
And I value my right to speak. And if someone doesn't want to allow me or others to speak, then I am not for that. So that is very strongly my feelings.
Hear, hear.
After Diana, we have Judy Leslie.
Diana Batista. I'm a little bit disappointed, and I've looked at it all day. I was not going to even speak on it, but I would feel a little bit more guilty going to bed at night knowing that I didn't speak on it than whether or not I did. Every single woman on this board, there was somebody who fought for your rights to be in that position, to have a voice, to be able to get something out there. And we're sitting here and we now have 7 women. Am I correct on that? The math? I sucked at math too. So, but 7 women who would then go and restrict the voices of everybody, not just male, but female, and how and in what limit that looks like. And I think you really need to look at that and really consider whether or not you're willing to do that, and whether or not you're willing to restrict your voice and the voices of your grandmothers and your great-grandmothers and every other female and other person who fought for you. 3.29. So I think I'm kind of here. You're talking about restricting just about everything when it comes to public comment.
3.29 is the settlement.
Is it? Yeah. I might have gotten the wrong number, but I know that there was something on there.
Okay. What is it? So you're only on 2.5.
2.5. Is it
the settlement or the
no? It was with the public comment
policy.
Thank you. Okay. But I just and I'm trying to get. I really want to just get the point across with that. I sit here and I look at every single person here, right? And I know that I disagree with a variety of different people. There are times I've gotten into it with Katie Williams on Facebook, okay? But I'm telling you that she has a right to a voice, just like you have a right to a voice, and you have a right to a voice. And whether or not we really want to look at restricting that for everybody who comes up here, and once that's written in, we're going to have a lot of difficulty getting past that. And I'm looking at how far we've come, and we have 7 women on this board, which is phenomenal. It's caused chaos at times, but there's been a lot of wonderful things too, and I just think we need to look at that and really consider that when we're looking at how we're restricting the voices and in what capacity. And I just would not recommend voting in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Judy Leslie?
I was born and raised here in Las Vegas, and I'm very old, okay? And I remember that back in the days, Brian Cram. And I remember that our school district was a joy to be with. If there was a problem, it was always taken care of. And I do realize that it was a much smaller area, but that's one reason I think the board should be broken up. School district should be broken up. And I don't think you should, any of you are qualified to what students are taught regarding sex education, and this is not your job. These children are innocent and you're filling their minds with garbage. I hope with the 4,000 sealed indictments for Nevada, have your name on them because they are coming for commissioners, teachers, school boards, politicians, doctors and nurses who committed crimes against humanity, which entails massing our children and pushing the experimental genocidal jab. You cannot run, but you cannot hide. They're watching you, and what you're going to do when they come for you, because you're up. Your time is up. Thank you.
Hear, hear.
Thank you. Camille Bywaters. I have you for 2 items.
Camila Bywaters, President of the Las Vegas Alliance of Black School Educators and Co-Chair for Education for the National Action Network. The academics 3.12, the Academic Support Center has always been a very important part of historic West Las Vegas. So we're hoping that the individual...
Folks, if we could hear you in the crowds chit-chatting, and on top of us, it's being distracting. It's also distracting for our ESL folk. So please limit the chatter because we also want to hear from Camilla. Thank you.
Okay, I need about 10 more seconds on there. I'll try at the end, don't worry. So the Academic Support Center is a very important part of the historic West Las Vegas community. So we're hoping that the individual that will be hired for this position will be given an opportunity to build camaraderie with the community and understand the needs of the community. Lovisa has always been a part of historic West Las Vegas, so we hope that this individual will be able to meet them and to have a collaborative working relationship in this school year. The Academic Support Center provides a lot of resources to the community, so it is important that they understand who they're serving and the importance of that role. Secondly, public comment, 3.25. Public comment is the lifeline of our democracy. And as elected officials, it is important that we always keep, well, one day, me, but we always keep our minds and hearts open to what the community has to say. Each of you were elected in by the community, and the community's input and voice matters in public comment. To eliminate or to change the time frame is really a slap in the face to the community. This space, whether or not it matters to you or not, even if it did not matter, even if anything that we said up here mattered or not, public comment matters. Public comment gives the community an opportunity to educate the community, but also educate board members and our leaders and our superintendent and other staff members about issues that are going on within the district that you may not have a close relationship to. Public comment is about giving the community a voice, allowing the community to share perspectives. Public comment has elevated a lot of individuals in this room, has elevated a lot of organizations in this room because of the things, some of the things that we are saying make sense, they matter, and people are listening. So whether or not you care to hear about what people have to say, it does matter. The questions that are asked by some of our community members encourage critical thinking. They encourage you to think about situations or perspectives that you may not have considered. I know that Lovisa, we always try to present another perspective so that as you're going into your work, that you are able to make informed decisions that are not only informed by your own personal thinking, but are informed by a broader perspective and collective. Please do not limit public comment. It matters, it is important, and the community has a right to share what they have to say.
Thank you.
Zarina Cardenas with my Children's Advocate. The sex ed curriculum is pornographic. It includes role-playing scenarios, and the curriculum you chose, Advocates for Youth, is brought to you by Planned Parenthood. We have already known that. How much longer until you have a Planned Parenthood inside a CCSD campus, giving out referrals for abortions? School districts in California are already doing it. And people like the unicorn cat lady are making a pathetic attempt to deny it and calling parents ignorant when it is the one who can't even identify what a woman is, the one who's really ignorant. As we have tried to make it known, you appointed a sexologist to that sex ed committee, which is no surprise. We've made it very clear that CCSD is run by trustees, with the exception of Katie Williams, who are on a progressive warpath to change the values we parents have decided to raise our children with. I just saw a video of a psychologist, a counselor, speaking on behalf of minor attracted people. I'm willing to bet money that if Cavazos, who's also a therapist, is re-elected, she'd be up there trying to make it inclusive for pedophiles too. I have to agree with Irene Cepeda when she called this whole board a Titanic. Parents, you decide if your children will sink with it. The only way to save your kids is to pull them out. Don't lose your children to this woke mob. Go to mychildrensadvocate.com, and under homeschool resources, you'll find the information you need. Save your kids.
Again, please refrain from personal attacks. Again, address the board as a whole, please. Kingsley. Stephanie Kingsley.
Stephanie Kingsley, my children's advocate. It is funny that you guys don't take personal attacks, but your votes are very personal to us when you vote to harm our children. You vote to put a sexologist on a committee to teach sex to children. And what I just gotta keep asking is why? Like, prove to me that these aren't nefarious motives that you guys have. It's everything that you guys do turns to poo. It's like the opposite of the Midas touch. You take math, you turn it into Common Core. Again, Bill Gates in China. There's a common denominator that keeps happening with the Democrats. Bill Gates in China. What else do they like to do? Who else does Bill Gates hang out with? The Clintons and all these people. We see that there's a lot of harm from the Democratic Party when it comes to children. We see your sniffy president and his son and how much they like kids, and we see that you guys incorporate what California does, they just diminish the crime of sodomy with a child. I mean, this is the lunacy we're dealing with here. You guys support Planned Parenthood. How about if we're going to talk about abortions, we talk about what happened. We talk about how 90% of women regret their abortion. I don't have all the degrees you guys have. I never had an unplanned pregnancy. Wow, because I took better care of my body than that. I had a higher caliber of partner than that. Why is that hard to teach people? Why is that hard to teach men to be men and protect women? Men are supposed to protect women and children.
Can we circle back to the sex ed?
Yeah, we're talking about sex ed. We're talking about how you guys support abortion.
Materials.
You support, that's what you push. Planned Parenthood is one of the groups that supports, that you guys support. Your teachers' unions fund them, your groups fund them. Let's talk about when an abortion happens. They know it's succeeded when the white goo oozes out, because that's the baby's brain. Then they have to go make sure they didn't lose any parts. Or when they do a saline abortion, how the baby drowns in salt water and it burns it inside out. No, that's what you guys support. You support Planned Parenthood, who does this. Planned Parenthood doesn't provide mammograms, doesn't provide anything else. They provide abortions, and they were created to kill the undesirables, as Margaret Sanger said.
Thank you very much.
We got some fighters in this town, don't we?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's basically the board meeting, you guys. I don't know what's going on with my buddy. He's starting to get me worried, man. I hope it's just that the fact that he's fighting with his old lady and not that he's being targeted. But I'm sure he's fine. Just probably fighting with his old lady. He's been having issues lately. Shit's been going on. I don't want to disclose that. That's none of my business. Anyways, sorry, you guys. Oh my god, I can't believe I just did that. He's got a lot of stuff going on.
Well, this kind of stress will cause rifts in anybody's relationship.
But I'm really worried. I wish he would get a hold of me so I know he's all right.
He needs to.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they don't do anything there.
No, they don't. Dude, we're ranked 49th in the entire country on the schools are here out here.
I'm unsympathetic to teachers because teachers are the number 2 reporters to CPS. So they're very hypocritical.
But there's some good teachers though. Like I gotta give the credit to my nephew's 5th grade teacher, because she was very, very, very. She stood up for him when he stood up for somebody that got when he got bullied. She backed him up when they're trying to expel him, and yet they didn't want to expel a kid that stabbed a girl and she was bleeding from the school because they're so desperate for numbers. What does that tell you guys?
And hey, I just wanted to also chime in that we also need to remember that there's good and bad in everything, every profession, every walk of life, everything. There's light and dark. So we can't just label everybody as bad. Just throwing that out there.
You're correct.
Well, we have to. Hello. But
Hello?
just
Hello, Jaguars mom. How you doing?
Oh, well, long as my child is away and I'm having to continuously go through these ringers, that says exactly how I'll be doing. And then, of course, when he returns, it's not going to be like an easy road. So I have to definitely, during this campaign, this campaign that we're doing to definitely seek the resources to manage him once he's returned. And it's just so much that's going on. He's been located in Waltham, Massachusetts, at the Guild, the Guild of Human Services. So I got to speak with him last weekend, but this weekend they wouldn't let him get on the phone, nor earlier in the week.
But you didn't get to speak with your son, though?
I didn't get to speak with him at all this weekend, nor during the week. And actually, I'm at somebody else. Somebody else had access to speak to him, and I haven't. Of course, you know what they've been doing me.
Right. But you at least got confirmation that he's the confirmation of life. That's good. At least that. That's something to be. At least
he's also very upset. Well, we could just say that it's a start because he was saying no mama, bye bye, goodbye mama. So I said, well, you want to come with mama, right? And he was saying no, he wanted to stay there. For some reason he was saying he don't like hamburgers no more. He said no hamburgers.
He probably thought I know what McDonald's is all about.
Well, no, he's not usually like we only have that like on the road when we traveling, but he's just like homemade burgers. But he used to love burgers, but he was telling me for some reason he ended up saying no hamburgers. He was talking about he wanted cake, ice cream, and he's like, well, that's what I want. So he was telling me what type of clothes he had on. He would say, I got black sandals, green shirt, and he said blue jeans. And he had a machine that was talking on side of him like a AI dictator machine. If y'all know, with him being legally deaf.
Oh, okay. So like basically a computer to basically help him to communicate, basically, right?
Well, something that mocks what he's saying or comprehend what he's saying. One of those AI
it can translate it for him better, or to some degree, to give it context. Maybe is that what you're getting at?
Something like that.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead, continue.
He also had an altercation with a teacher and a student at the, I don't know whether it was directly at the school or the facility, but the other children in the background was telling me he had had an altercation with them. And yeah, so this is so much that's going on, and I'm encouraging and reaching out to everyone. The cost, and I don't know if anyone heard about Boston, their train lines, if y'all heard about the train went out, all their trains are out. So they're using shuttle buses, and if y'all know what that means, that means a lot. And I'm encouraging everyone, the fundraiser for my son is the Cash App Return Jaguar with a Q, Return Jaguar with a Q. I'm definitely seeking someone because the other GoFundMe's and the protest sites we had, they kept getting shadow banned, they kept getting shut down. So if someone I don't know if someone got to have a special computer or that can trustworthily run a GoFundMe site. Certainly that
No,
would be great.
you just need to have somebody set up some GoFundMe for you. Really, is all you really need.
Yes, that's
Somebody
what I
that
need.
can do
Someone
that.
that can have a strong computer, someone that has a strong computer system to keep it up, because we've had others up and they keep getting taken down, and then
Yeah,
plus
no,
no
see,
money is coming through.
yeah, I know they're doing that with a lot of people. It's not so much the person running on the computer; it's the web host or whoever's running the server, who's hosting the website. That's what it is. It's we've noticed that with what was it, Give Send Go or GoFundMe? I think the other one that we were what is the one we were using for the Bowles family? Does anybody remember? Was that was the alternative one that was less prone to like halt your shit? But anyways, yeah, it's more or less, I think it's the one you use, and the fact that they did that to the truckers too. So like, I would recommend. I think it's GiveSync. I think it's
Whoever can help me with it, because right
Go.
now I have to stay offline.
Right.
I do minimize my time online, so I'm really seeking someone that can
Well,
really
we can probably
that's
definitely help you with
trustworthy
that.
and a dependability.
We could probably help you with
Yeah.
that Jaguars mom. We can definitely because we set that up for the Bowles family as well. So we could probably square that away for you. We'll touch base on that after the show or sometime this week. Okay.
Yes, it's been over a year and a half. My son has been misheld, and there is so much corruption that is going on with Edward Brook Courthouse there. It's on the Haymarket Transit line, so I don't know what color that is, but all their transit lines are out in Boston, so people are having to severely be out of transportation. Then they're going to tell the people, oh, well, work from home, and it's like for real. But you know what I'm saying, with me having to campaign, it costs. And the arrangements, and then also what else other people have to understand is that it takes time away from your regular work life. You having to deal with the court situations, deal with meeting with all the parties to support, and everything with my son's case, and everyone, what I'm saying, all what has to be done. With it takes away from being from livelihood, period, and it costs very much. And a lot of times you can go, you can get somewhere, and you don't have things set up the way you expected, even with you having to finance it yourself. So it's really a toll with the financing. I've had someone that was homeless that contributed funds, and I appreciate that so much. However, I really need a strong amount, especially for those others that I have networked with and that have been able to flourish off of my contributions and my concepts and be able to raise the funds that's necessary. I'm the one that should be raising that $500,000, that $50,000, $20,000.
Right.
So,
It's like they stole
we
your
certainly have to
idea and
get to
ran
those
with
goals.
it. That ain't right.
And got their children back off of it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, definitely, us to, certainly revamp and being able to recapture and just go reclaim everything that has been stolen from us and stolen from my son. And the identity theft, trafficking, like I was listening to the video of everything they've been speaking about, this stuff that, they make in school just virtually lollygag. You barely have children that can read and count money. You barely have people that can properly do accounting, universal math. What are you adding extra topics for? You don't need any extra additional topics in life.
Right. And it's funny because let me just tell you guys a true story. A few years back, like 2017, I went to go and try and get my high school transcripts so I could pursue going back to school and getting my diploma, because I was like a few credits short, right? Maybe like 2.5 to be exact. Because here's what happened when I was in freshman year. I was a freshman in high school. We went to go live with my dad for like a few months, and he sent us to a private school that was like their material was like a year ahead of Vegas public schools. So I was actually put in 8th grade there and missed out on my last year of credits, or my last quarter of credits of my freshman year. So fast forward, I'm going to get my transcript because I want to get the last 2.5 that I need, right? So I can just have it done and have it on the on my record. It's like, okay, cool, I'm gonna do this. Well, these bastards at the Clark County School District, I'm sorry, but they're incompetent. A lot of them, not a lot. There's still a lot of great teachers, but a lot of this There's a lot of corruption going on, and how in the hell are you gonna tell me? They were trying to tell me I only had 2.5 credits. If it had not been for the fact that I kept my records over the years in my report cards, I would not have been able to prove otherwise. I did, and I was able to get that reversed or get that fixed. But imagine all the people that fucking don't have those records that just got taken advantage of by
Yeah,
the fucking
especially with the
system.
way stuff getting stolen from people and people holding their
Right.
stuff hostage. And it's just so much that, you know, people having stuff, you know, besides the theft, the fires and floods and everything like that. So yeah, it's really a lot to keep up with everything. You can't walk around with a big dump truck, you know, keeping all your records through life also. You know, it's just very exhausting. Like they have made
Right.
life like we're living in worse times than 1970s and the 1980s. The times are real
Yeah.
worse now, like worse than the crack era.
Have you ever read that book 1984? I think we're living in the real and like I think we literally are living it now at this point.
Oh, we're worse off than 1984
Oh yeah.
because I believe resources were at least housing. Less people were. So you know what I'm saying? It was not extended
Right.
housing, and the shelters
See,
were
it seems like
totally
the opposite's going on here.
were more spaced out.
It seems like they're robbing people of their housing is what they're doing, and targeting them because
Yeah,
of it is what they're
that's what
doing.
they are
That's the
doing.
only
They're
difference I think in that, you know, as in reference to 1984 with what we got going on here in real life, like that the analogy or the comparison is that would be like I think the only real difference to me because it's pretty much like what we're seeing, is it not? The censorship and
yeah,
everything else. Wow,
yeah, certainly.
yeah. And I want to. I had heard that the railroad unions were on strike, which I know you mentioned that the railroads were no
Oh.
longer operating. So I think that may be the cause of that. Just to give our viewers some.
No, it was because of the trains. The trains had caught on fire, and people had jumped out the window and jumped into the river there in
What?
on the Orange Line there in Boston. And then
Wow.
the Green Line, the train started running on its own without the conductor.
Wait, when
We
was
call it
this?
involuntary mechanical. Oh, it's been all through this year.
Oh
And then
wow.
somebody got drugged. The Red Line train had took somebody and drugged them, and it was one of their limbs. I forgot which limb, but it was their limb, and they ended up dying.
Oh wow.
So it's been a lot of numerous incidents there on the Boston Charlie. I know they call it the system called Charlie.
So hey, we're gonna probably go a little bit longer than normal just to get everybody in. Would you, Liz? Do you want to wrap up your updates? Jaguar's mom. We're gonna try and get Lizzie in here, and then we're gonna have Dottie and Jen speak for a bit. And see-
Okay,
get their take
I
on
want to
everything.
encourage everyone. Okay, I want to encourage everyone, the TikTok, all the social media platforms, and I appreciate everyone that have put posts and definitely support for my son Jaguar. Continue with the hashtags Return Jaguar with the GRQ, that's RETURNJAQUAR, and also hashtag Return Jaguar, RETURNJAGUAR, and I'm also a contributor of the mystery composition Puzzle Rides by S. Richardson. So also there'll be updates on the hashtag Puzzle Rides book and hashtag mystery. I believe they have shadow banned that, but also I'll be reposting.
Are those
under that hashtag
hashtags and
mystery
Cash App
transport.
tags are on your YouTube channel for our viewers? Because I know we have a link to
Yes.
to your channel on our in our description. We put that along with a lot of ours, so we have that in there. So our viewers, if you want to go and check out her stuff and show your support and see what's going on with her case, go to the Return Jaguar YouTube link in our description, and then you can get all that info there for her, for what she's putting out and what she's doing to fight this. I encourage everybody to go check it out because we need to show our support for each other.
Oh, yes, certainly, because I know I've done so much before this here has happened to me, and I did it, so I was definitely sure by the time, well, I just, like I said, I did this here so we can be working together and preventing all this here, but it's like once one mountain gets covered, or when other people get their stuff covered, they go on about their merry way, and then a lot of others, so definitely encourage everyone to continue sharing, share at least twice. share for two, where it says in the Bible, two or more that are gathered, let's share two or more times. Every time that you see the post of hashtag Return Jaguar on whatever social media, and thank you to all that are sharing and campaigning for Jaguar's return from Massachusetts, in Massachusetts.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing your story and giving us some updates. I apologize about last week. I had meant to send you the link, and then I was still trying to share out to all the groups, and I didn't have any pre-recorded content. So, and I was trying to prevent having a delay, extended delay on the show, because you know how that can lose traction. And I totally spaced it, so I apologize for that. That was my mistake.
Yes. Yes, so certainly, especially since I'm not able to get on the Zoom links
Right.
for some odd reason. Even it must have, like I said, that AI thing where it must detect that I'm around it, and we'll discuss that at a later time. But everybody, we continuously need more people, those that are lawyers, paralegals, campaigners to definitely fight, and contact me of any media or events that you have organized to further put the awareness and the support and fundraising for the return of Jaguar.
Sounds great. We will have all our viewers do that. I encourage all our viewers to go check out her channel. It's in the description of our live on all our platforms. So go check that out. Show your support, subscribe, and let's see what we can do to help each other, man. We all got to show each other support here. So Lizzie, would you like to give our viewers updates on your case? We got about 10 minutes because I want to hear from Jen and Dottie also on everything that we covered today as well. Lizzie, are you there? Hello. Hello. All right. Well, all right then. I guess we'll wait until she's available. Dottie, you want to speak any of your input on what we just talked about as far as Jaguar's case, the CPS connection, the school board's connection, all that? Maybe anything that we covered today on today's show.
Just a reminder to people that August 22nd, there is a rally down in Jeff City, Missouri, a teaching rally, and we're thinking about putting something together. We're going to, I got to make a few phone calls, but we're talking about camping out at the Capitol to make a stand for these.
I will be there covering this, folks, live. So just
put that out there. Coming to St. Louis in a few days, and we're going to be putting some boots to the ground and doing some stuff, and hopefully, make some more noise. And like Jaguar's mom said, just keep up, advocating, keep getting loud, keep reposting, keep informing people, because that's about all we can do at this point.
Yep, exactly. I mean, that's we just got to keep providing that pushback. Everything that you're doing on your front, and Dottie, and everything you're doing on your front, Jaguar's mom, and everything that we're all doing to provide this pushback and fight back, dude. We're all holding the line, you guys. I mean, just look at what we've been able to accomplish in the last freaking 8 months. Where things were then to now. And how much things have changed, and how much exposure we've caused these. We've put these bastards out on blast, and we're not going to stop until they're held accountable under the law, or until we die trying.
Keep going. Oh no. There is we can't speak for us going, because it's enough for us. That
yes.
It's more of them that gotta go, because
exactly.
They are the ones that shall not consume the earth.
They're the ones that are abusing their positions of power. Period.
They're abusing the air. They're abusing the air and every element that's here.
Yeah, by poisoning us.
Absolutely. Jen.
That is so true too. The water, the air, everything, our food. They're really
go ahead, Dottie. Go ahead, Dottie.
Oh, I was just saying that is so true what Jaguar's mom was just saying. It is everything, our water, our food, our air. I mean, anything that they can attack us from any angle that they can. It is really, truly about destroying the family unit and hurting us. That's our government.
Doing that to us, folks. Keep that in mind.
The government and their ticklers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ticklers that they underhand have to deceive us. To spy on us and to keep us, overwhelmed. Because it's like you just don't get a break.
Never.
Everything is push pressure, and anytime you try to take a break or when you think you're about to come through on something, they come with this mountain blockage. But no, it should tumble on their head.
No, absolutely right. So, sorry, I was just going back rereading some of the chats that we had in the Zoom. Apologies, folks. I got a little sidetracked. Jen, do you want to speak? You're back. I noticed you've got all your stuff reset. Thank God. I know. I remember. I was helping you do that, and then your phone shut off because it made a weird sound when the call ended. It went.
I really don't want to get into it right now because it was a glitch in the system, i.e., and the matrix. So. Anyhow, I guess I'm really starting shit. So good. But anyway.
You're back. You're back, though. You're back.
I'm back.
They had her out of commission for a minute. For like a week.
You know what?
For like a week, guys.
That gave me some time to put some real stuff together. So I got it coming. They got it coming. Anyway.
Good.
First and foremost, I just want to say, Jaguar's mom, this is the calmest I've ever heard you. I mean, you sound so better. I mean, you know, that. I just had to say that because you're calm and, you know, don't just share it once. If you would have to second guess sharing something like you're talking about, share it anyways. You can't share it too much. Get it out there.
Right. We all got to help share the stuff out, people. We need to get the word out, you know, and we're fighting Facebook censorship here too against an astronomical odds, and we're still doing it, and we're not going to stop.
Well, and that's the thing.
But we could use your help, folks.
It's like this. You know what they say with food: if in doubt, throw it out. Well, if you can't remember, if you share it again, and then share it to your family. And then
there you go.
Thank you. Just like they sharing about the Sesame Street incident, share about my son.
Yeah,
because you know what I'm saying. Our children being held hostage is more important than a child that's not being touched by the characters. Which is when I couldn't really go to events like that, but. You don't touch the characters and they don't touch you. And it's not something that you make as a major viral, or make as a major headline. My son should be major headline with this here because this is totally unfair what is happening, especially when the judge has said anti-jurisdiction and non-resident March 29, 2021. And my child's supposed to be returned back on April 5th.
And they have not returned your child as of yet, have they?
Yeah, her house phone, she's not answering. Her email somehow came back rejected that we sent to her, even to the Black Massachusetts lawyers there in some part of, I forgot, it could be Cambridge or Boston, Massachusetts there. I forgot exactly the city where that's located, but she haven't responded to any of that where she has been contacted at all. And then Shariana, however she pronounced her name, she's from the Dominican Republic. She is 25 years old. She is severely immature, and she doesn't even have a master's in social work.
Right. So, Jen, what do you want to go ahead and touch on that and give your input on what she just said, and then what we talked about just before that, what you were talking about as well?
Yeah, I mean, she's certainly right about everything has been, these trans rodents get there and tamper and abuse every element, anything they touch, anything they go in the midst of, they just become poison. And they're not even worth consuming or worth even forgiveness. They're just a lost cause, a lost use at all.
Jen, do you want to touch on that real quick on what Jaguar's mom was saying and what we were talking about before that? What your train of thought was before that?
I don't really remember, but I'll just take where I left off in my massive thoughts that was running through my head. One interesting thing when I was listening to the meeting, and they were speaking of the personal attacks. What the hell is that about when they're personally attacking our families?
Right.
What about those attacks?
Right. Right.
And that just puts it in perspective. Anytime that the parent stood up and just was talking about the sick things that they're teaching our kids, there's personal attacks. Well, you're personally attacking our family, so of course.
Right.
That's immoral.
It is immoral, and not only that, it's inappropriate.
One thing about the Sesame
Yes, inappropriate and disorderly.
I remember is like I still feel ripped off because they never told me how to get to Sesame Street. You know,
right? I know. Me too. I'm like, screw you guys. I'm going home. I'm like, screw you, Sesame Street. I'm going with Kermit the Frog.
I mean, can you tell me? Nobody ever freaking told me how to get to Sesame Street. But anyhow, and then I don't know if anybody else has noticed. This is pretty interesting. I had to make a little bit of light of the situation, but I thought of that. I'm like, nobody ever told me how to get to Sesame Street. Damn, I felt ripped off.
Right. I think a lot of kids did. They're like, what the hell, man?
But well, I just thought about it. But now I've been watching, those old shows, like Brady Bunch, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they're implementing shows to go along with the narrative now that I don't remember ever them adopting a child out of another country.
Right. Right. No, you're seeing these narratives in this agenda in the Hollywood, dude, and it's really sick. Like I was watching, I was observing Netflix and what they were doing the 4 years that Trump was in office, and dude, they were really pushing it. Like it became so obvious. I was like, wow, they're really trying to program this shit in people. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I refused to watch half the stuff that they were trying to make, all like the reboots and stuff. Like, for example, a good example was the reboot they tried to do a freaking Roswell, which was fucking terrible. They gutted all the fucking main characters on that one.
And it's like they take out little pieces and they make it their narrative, and then but see, the kids and the youth and people of these generations don't know any different. It's like they'll be
right.
And I'm like, wait a minute.
Like you tell a younger generation kid, like under 10, have you seen Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? And they think about the Johnny Depp movie, not the Gene Hackman
but
one.
There's two different versions. And I got a little argument, a little bit of a I like certain things but I don't get into all of that. That's a different time.
Or was it Gene Hackman? I can't remember what Gene what was it?
Yeah, Gene Hackman.
It was Gene Hackman. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Johnny Depp though played the best thing when he's like, he talks about cannibalism and that's illegal and all something. I just love that. But anyway, okay. So that be on.
Okay, I didn't watch the Charlie Factory.
Oh, I did, and okay. Anyhow,
the original is the best one. I mean, the remake is all right.
I saw the original.
Yeah, I love the original. I miss that one. Those were the days, man.
Yeah. Oh,
wasn't it Gene Wilder that was in that movie?
Oh, wasn't it Gene Wilder? Was it Gene Hackman? No, it was Gene Wilder. It was Gene Wilder.
I don't know.
But I think it was Gene Wilder because it was because Gene Hackman's the more modern actor. I think. It was Gene Wilder. Always get those two confused.
Me too. Hey, Jackie, but I want a pony.
Daddy, I want an Oompa Loompa. I want an Oompa Loompa right away. Sorry, I couldn't resist. God. I had to do my impression.
You little brat. Okay. Hey,
I know, right?
Daddy, what's up, girl?
I want it now.
And then the girl that ate the bubble gum, and he's like,
oh yeah, she's turning into a blueberry.
Yeah. Anyway, that's great, but that I swear that was I'm just speechless because now I'm thinking about all the funny parts about it.
Right.
But that meeting was excellent. That is a definite thing that needs to happen in all of our communities. And they were calling people out. If they took it as a personal attack, then they're personally doing it.
Well, they're racketeering. They're committing federal crimes.
Well,
of course, we're going to call them out. We're not personal attacking them. We're calling them out, and they know
we're personally attacking their character because they're just doing their job. Okay, so.
Well, let me give you a little inside information, which from what my buddy was telling me. This Madam President was paid off by some of these these sweet little deals that some of these board members got. So that just tells you where she stands. Just saying, folks. That's the word around the water cooler.
And it's even greater the fact that she said the sniffing president. Oh my, that's a classic. I mean, just calling it out, calling a spade, an ace an ace. Corrupt person and corrupt
Keep
person.
on calling us out.
Yep.
Exactly. Like, but ma'am, you're getting out of control. That's disorderly conduct. Well, standing up for my child's right is I'll be disorderly and misconducting all over the place. Okay. Yep. So anyhow, I've been gone for a while, so I got pent up energy. So pardon me.
Lizzie, are you there?
Are you there? Are you there?
Yeah,
Are you
I'm
okay?
still here.
All right, I was trying to get you to give updates a little bit ago, but you didn't respond, so I didn't know if you were gonna.
I was probably in the bathroom.
Well, you go ahead and give our viewers your updates, and then we'll probably wrap it up shortly thereafter because we're already past 2 hours. We had a great show today. I just wish my buddy would have been able to hop on. Man, I really wanted him to speak and give people his. I'm a little worried and concerned that he may have been targeted. I don't know. I hope he called me back so I can find out, dude. I'm just. It's not normal for him to be to miss
Not responding. That's weird.
Right. That's abnormal. He's been reliable as far as helping the team with the Zoom with advice and stuff on
Yeah.
a few Zooms. So
He's
like,
been on there. Yeah.
And that's exactly why I
to
was
be
really
honest, I'm
worried.
starting to worry.
So, when I
I
was,
don't blame you. I'd be too, Steven.
Because he was supposed to come on, and I haven't heard anything. I haven't been able to get a hold of him. And I don't know if he's busy, handling some business or if he's been targeted or what. But I really need to know, so I'm not worried.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I too.
But anyways, that was a good article. I think. Did everybody get a chance to catch that or check that out yet? When we were reading it at the beginning of the show, or
I know.
No, I
just
can't do
got back.
anything, but
you all should check it out. Whoever's missed it after the show, it's one of my best pieces of work that I think I've ever done.
Well, I need it, yo. So
I'm really disappointed I had to jump off when I did, but
That's all right.
But
So
go
go ahead
ahead,
and give our viewers your updates briefly. We got about 10, but give me about 10 minutes. About the same we're giving everybody else for the updates tonight because we had a big first hour segment, and I want to give everybody a chance to speak. But go ahead.
okay. So I don't know if anybody heard about the accident we were in. We were in a really bad accident. One of the updates I want to give y'all. We were hit when we were stopped 0 mile an hour. We were hit about 65, 70 mile an hour. So I've got a broken ankle, my left one, and I've got a sprained femur bone. So that's kind of what I'm going through on top of trying to take care of my grandpa right now. So we had our car was completely totaled. So we had to be trying to find another vehicle now. So we did finally find another vehicle just yesterday here. So we got that. We just got to take it Monday to the DMV and get, all the transferring done from the other owners to us now because they were, of course, closed. Tonight with Jasmine, they don't know exactly what's going on, but she was just throwing up, keeping nothing down. So I'm just waiting to hear back regarding her. I don't know exactly what it is. They're thinking that it could be something to do with her NEC, which is, I don't know if anybody knows what that is.
Yeah,
but
explain
that's
for our viewers what that is.
Yeah, that's basically, you could even look up what is NEC. It's basically when they give a child recalled formula, they can get brain damage, they can get gastrointestinal bowel problems.
Oh, so they think it's
stomach
resulting of that?
problems. So they're really wondering if it's impacted by that. But they haven't been able to get her to eat, drink, absolutely nothing. So just pray that she comes back around and starts eating and drinking. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really worried. Of course, being mom, I'm the worried bug. So yeah, that's kind of what's
So
going
are your
on.
children back?
No.
So are your
No, I
children back?
wish. No, they are not.
Okay, so it's the update they
No.
gave you.
Yeah, they're supposed to call. They don't always, but they're supposed to call and let us know any doctor appointments they have. If they end up in the ER emergency, all that. We haven't, they don't always do what they're supposed to do. But
Well, yeah, they sent notices that they weren't giving my child any medicine for this previous year and a half, and then come to find out my child has been given some trilexol. Trilexol is start with a T for nerves and moods. So that's what
now here's a real
that's what I just
question
found
kicker
out.
for you. Does your child need that kind of a thing? They giving it out of control manipulation. That's the real key.
Yeah, out of control and manipulation.
Yep, that's what they do. They thought they were going to start my daughter on something too, my 3-year-old. I don't remember what it was exactly. And I said, absolutely not. They brought it into the one visit and said, oh, she has to take this during the visit. Brought the whole container in. And I looked at it. I said, absolutely not. My daughter will not take this.
Well, I was told mine wasn't given no medicine or any treatment. So I've been lied to this whole year, and I'm just finding out. Even
And
with the
that's what they do.
consistency of everything.
Yeah, they will do that because
You don't know
it's
what.
all money. It's not out of the well-being of any children. It's just the money that they get out of it is ridiculous. But in the end result, if people know how to come back on them, that's where they're screwed. That's where they lose the money. I don't think I told Steven either. Remember how we had a case in Virginia, illegal case in Virginia with C?
Bailey, yeah, you were
Well,
cutting out there for a
yeah.
second. Just go back like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and say that again one more time.
Remember the case in Virginia with Lexi?
Uh-huh.
I said about that illegal case there. Well,
Yeah.
a little over a year later, now we get papers in the mail stating that Dan owes $200 in child support.
Well, I think you mentioned that to me once, like a few weeks back.
Did we? Yeah. So, right now that went into our governor here in Florida because he's helping us on this case.
Okay.
Between Virginia, of course, and PA. Go figure, right?
Right.
So right now he said without us filling out federal paperwork, there's not really a whole lot more he can do. I mean, he can look at all the paperwork that we're getting, but unless we file federal, we're kind of losing out. He said that's the only way to really get anywhere right now with them.
It's federal?
He has tried, he has tried everything under the sun, judicial transfers, everything.
To be honest, considering what the FBI has done recent weeks, I'm not too confident in our freaking federal government right now.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He does know a specific judge in federal that he would like us to deal with, and he said if we get the papers filed, and he will communicate with federal and have that judge involved, and he will be there as well. He said you won't go through it alone. I will be there as well. The other thing he said for us to do is all those people that are on that Zoom. Stephen, you saw the Zoom, right, of that night that it happened in PA?
I did.
He said anybody that has seen that Zoom, anybody that was a witness on that Zoom as well, if they could come down here to where we're at in Florida, if we would go into our jurisdiction down here to where the girls would have jurisdiction, and we give them that video, just give them like a flash drive or whatever, make sure we have, other backups, right?
Right.
And go into the police department down here. Unfortunately, he said going in by yourselves is not going to do you any good.
Right.
He said you're going to need people.
Yeah,
with
you got to go with a crowd.
Yep. So that's exactly what he said. Don't go alone. He wants people that were there to, on that video, and that's been with us kind of through this, like the group, to step up and come forward with us.
Okay.
So
that's what we've been having to do is that's why we have advocates and stuff, is people to back up those that are whose due process is being violated. So that goes right in line with that. So I think that's a smart play on there. I mean, that's kind of what we're doing with the protest and what we were going to do with Angie's trial. But because they canceled it, we got we lucked out. We got more time to figure out what the hell they're trying to do. But I mean, I don't think
but that's helpful.
We got them by the balls. I'm pretty sure.
Too. It might be nice that you guys have that extra time to figure that out too.
Right.
To be more, to crank down even harder yet.
Exactly, because we still got to put in some groundwork and really get awareness out there locally and her community, so we can make people show up when this does go down.
Exactly. So that's kind of where he's at with that. I did finally got a hold of Crystal. by the way, finally.
Yeah, well,
Days later. Freaking days later, she finally picks up. And she said, oh, well, she said, she can't do much. She said, you got to talk to Steven. Maybe he can get something together for everybody to get down there. I don't have the time nor the money.
of course not.
So,
of course not.
Yeah, all of been compromised financially.
That's not really a surprise being Crystal.
No, I know. She owes me money, by the way, that she never paid me back. So if she wants me to talk to her, she better pay me back. Period. That's bottom line. Her credibility is shot with me. I'm sorry, but it is.
That's exactly what we're going through. I mean, we put out $640 with her, and by the time she was supposed to come to us, never did. She used that money on other things. So, we told her the only way that she's going to get any money is she has to come down here, and that we will give her money here if she wants to go back. Otherwise, forget it. So she got really, really, really angry. But
I don't really think this is like a good place and time for this discussion. To be honest,
I agree. I didn't really want to touch on too much, but I did. But I'm not gonna. I didn't want to dwell on it. But
right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't need we don't need the negative vibes. Definitely.
I don't need it. I'm just.
So yeah, I just.
And we're not trying to do no bashing either, and we really don't want to. We want to avoid that. So let's not go there.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think, how can we get a group together? It's basically what I'm trying to think that can go with us.
Yeah. We need unity right now.
Yeah, the thing is.
But they said that if we would get in, they could have the girls down here within 2 weeks, and if not quicker.
Right.
And they did admit down here that because they have been asking for, the paperwork of the due process and everything from up there, being that the girls are jurisdiction down here, not up there. And they haven't received it. The last comment they did get about that, though, was that they don't have nothing. Well, yeah, no joke. They don't have nothing because they did do no due process. I mean, it's common logic. So yeah,
we're gonna. Hey, Liz, we're gonna wrap it up here in about 5 minutes. We're at the 2 hour 3, almost 2 hour 3 minute mark. So we're gonna get ready for the outro. But go ahead and wrap it up, and then we're gonna wrap up the show.
So yeah, basically it's just us having a group together, witness backup to come down here to Florida to the girls' jurisdiction. And, all put our foots down and say, look, this needs to happen. The girls need to come home.
Yeah, all our children need to come home. So everybody, if you have people on your list, I've shared everybody that has been on this every group I've been with. I've definitely did my share of everybody's story, their posts and so forth. I've did it multiple times. Even when your live event happened that time when you was tased.
Yeah.
We've shared that.
Yeah. Were you? I'm trying to remember. Were you on our live when we did our live that night? Our girls.
Yeah, I was on the live when you had got tased.
Yeah. Yeah. So you would. Do you definitely remember that night?
Hey.
Yeah, I remember it
Dottie,
live.
Jen, I would like to
call me when it happened.
Yeah, I thought you were on.
Dottie, Jen, I would like to hear you guys for a moment and get your take on everything before we wrap this up. And then if you're feeling up to doing the outro, I'd love for you to tell our viewers, just don't forget to subscribe to our channels, etc., and check out the Bonfire store, since you did put together that beautiful promo for us. You there, Dottie? Hello.
I'm here.
All right, go ahead.
What am I doing now?
I just want to get your take on everything we just covered, just briefly, just for a moment, this with the back and forth just now, like in the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And then I would like for you to do the outro, or Jen can do it with her, whichever one of you want to do it. Don't matter. But I would like for you, one of you to do the outro so we can, tell our viewers to follow our pages, to subscribe to our channels, check out the Bonfire store, etc.
Well, I wanted to thank your friend, even though he's not here, for sharing his story with us. That's a really remarkable story. I hope people start having some luck in that, what he did to help his kid, his case will be helpful to other people.
Right.
just keep promoting like Jaguars mom was saying. And then there's the rally in Jeff City, and that's about it for now. Still no trial date on my case. We're still waiting to hear something from the judge. So that's just still up in the air. And it's nice to have Jen back.
Yes, it is. And so, Jen, did I don't think we gave you any update because we've been MIA for like a week. I'm going down to Missouri from the 21st to the 25th, and we're gonna be at the protest, and then we're gonna do our own little thing, kind of like as like a almost like a vigil, I guess you could say, to kind of like put the energy out, the protection out there, like for all of us to have our justice served. And
MIA? What are you talking about? They were trying to shut me up.
I know they were. I know. I remember you called me. You called me, and I was like, you were like, how do we? I got a hold of me, and you were like, how do I reset my shit? And I was like, okay, here's what you do. And then like that was the last I heard, and you reset it, and it went.
It didn't end there. Okay, the story it goes deeper. But anyways,
Right.
But I'm back again. They can't shut me up, please. They've tried. Nah, not gonna do it. So
Love that attitude, Jen. They're not gonna do it.
You know what? They've tried. I've just a little brief history. I was in a head-on car accident in 2000 and what was it? My daughter was 2. I didn't go through the windshield because it was a sloped Toyota van, and then that didn't kill me. And so then I escaped an earthquake in Washington State, 6.8. And then I was leaving to Washington to come to Indiana, and there was a flood of the Chehalis River. There was it was a total catastrophe. My house was under 10 feet of water, so I escaped that. And then let's see, I medical malpractice, and I was that's when I was awakened. And not to mention, last but not least, I survived family court. So they ain't gonna shut me up. Okay, so they can just stop. So, but anyway,
they're not going to shut any of us up, I don't think.
I was thinking I was going to start, sending smoke signals and shit, like do the Morse code and stuff, like,
right.
But anyhow, I'm like texting people, are you even getting my messages? But anyway, it was weird. So I was very concerned. I was worried that, because you speaking of your friend, that was me, and I was sitting there trying to reach out to people, and I couldn't do it. They had blocked all my access of any kind of.
Right, you weren't even able to get online, were you?
No, I wasn't. It was more than that. First, it started out to where I wasn't able to go online, but I could make calls, and then later, I was not able. I was able to make calls, but it switched, and then my hotspot barely worked. And then today I couldn't make any calls, and it was insane. But anyway, I was totally exhausted, and it was just crazy. But I got to tell you guys a funny story. I had to go to the laundromat, okay, to do my clothes. Mm-hmm. And we all know how we love laundromats, right? Yeah.
Is this while your all your devices were compromised and down?
Yeah, and I was sitting there, and I even went on a Wi-Fi there, and it was like I was able to update some things. I still wasn't able to make a call. In fact, I tried to call you, Dottie. I'm like, are you ignoring me? But anyhow, and this little girl, she was so cute. She was I don't know, she was 5, and her mom just had a newborn baby, and I was asking her, like, is that okay if I talk to your daughter, because I don't, that stranger danger stuff, I'm very stuck on, get the parent's permission. So I told her, you're usually not supposed to talk to strangers, but I made sure it was okay with your mommy. And she became my friend. She wanted to stay at the laundromat with me. She's like, can you play with me? And I'm like, yeah, let me go check my clothes, and they're in the dryer. And she was the cutest thing. She had really cute butterflies on her skirt, and I showed her a cute little butterfly eraser. And I tell you what, I used to just kind of avoid kids. Like I would smile at them, because it hurt so much to see it, because I just wanted to hug them and protect them, But I gotta tell you something. It was it made me feel actually human again. Because a little 5-year-old wanted to be my friend and play with
That's
me.
a really cool story. I love that. That's awesome.
It gave me the shivers.
Did it ground you in in the real world again, as opposed to like all this online like social media world and shit? Isn't it refreshing to be able to not have to deal with tech for a minute like that and have to actually go out and have a real experience in real life?
Well, but what it was great because, well, in a sense, but really frustrating in another sense, because I don't agree, with the lack of communication and the worrying. I don't like, and I felt like I was doing that to you guys, but you know what though?
Oh, but we know though, like you've had this issue before, and usually, and I was telling Dottie the other day, wasn't I, Dottie, that she'll be back, she's fine, she just had to reset her shit, and it's going to take her a minute to get all her devices reset, because I had just got done talking to you 2 days prior.
Yeah.
When you were resetting your device, because Dottie was asking, she was worried about you for a minute there, weren't you, Dottie?
It goes a lot more deeper than that, but I just wanted to finish my train of thought.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off or anything. Go ahead.
I'm going to. This is something that I am completely, absolutely proud of. I have a 5-year-old friend. Oh my God, it was like or somebody. It was so genuine and pure and great, and she was showing me all her toys and.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet.
It reminded me of my kids and the way that I would play with them, and the baby cried. I go, "Was that you? Did you cry?" He's like, "That's my sister, Salika," and she was like, she had the cutest little freckles, but it is so pure, innocent, and just such a refreshment.
Yes.
To get into that child stage again. I mean,
from your inner child perspective, totally.
Well, no, because I can, anyway, I would connect with my kids on that level. But anyhow,
no, most parents should connect on their kids on that level. I think that's where that bond comes from.
And I will definitely save this for another show that maybe next one. Maybe I can end it on some things.
Yeah, of course. Because I know you've been out of the loop for a little bit because your device is being compromised. But we would love for you to do your fun facts like you're supposed to be doing on the show. Remember? Forgot about that, didn't you?
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh, I got some more fun facts. That's crazy. And I was like, Mark Zuckerberg, F you. I don't need your Facebook. What I got in trouble for 2 days was, I guess it could be kind of taken as hateful, but it says, I think my comment was burn a pedo slowly. I guess that would be considered.
I think a lot of people would agree with how you feel about that. I mean,
but but anyhow, anyway, but yeah.
So, Dottie, would you like to do the outro for our viewers, and then I'll play the actual playlist outro with the promo you put together for the bonfire, so we can wrap this up because we're coming up on 2 hours and 33 minutes. Actually, 34 minutes. Just hit the 34 mark.
What other things do we have to do? Just kidding.
Dottie, you there? Dottie.
Dottie, are you okay? Are you okay, Dottie?
Dottie. Dottie.
Dottie.
Dottie. Are you there?
Dottie. She's not there. Dottie.
All right.
Oh, maybe. Dottie, can you?
You're muted, Dottie. Unmute yourself.
All right, Mom.
You want to do it, Jen?
I don't know. She's still on there.
You go ahead and do it. I don't know what I'm doing.
Just tell our viewers to subscribe to our channels, follow our pages, check out the bonfire, and say goodnight, everybody. That's all you got to do.
Okay,
you can if you want. You don't have to. I mean, I would like for you to because I want you to get experience.
Let me get the free flowing going on here. So
all right, sounds good. Sounds good. You can do it, Jen.
Right.
You can do it.
Okay. Ready? All right. Here goes. Okay, now I'm on the spot. Okay, just everybody, just a reminder, just subscribe to all our channels. We got Bonfire, we got the Fringe Division, we have tips, techniques, and I think I missed one, but that's okay. But
Survival
check it out.
traits, tips,
Okay, but you know
techniques,
what?
survival traits.
But that's okay. They can check it out. I left it to be
They can.
free.
They absolutely
go ahead
can.
and
Go
check
ahead.
it out. We have amazing stories, and it will help open your mind, enlighten your senses, and we can all come together as one for the sake of our children. Love,
Yep.
light, and protection from the divine. So
Yep.
Don't forget to subscribe, follow us,
And check out the Bonfire.
and check out the Bonfire. I said that already, but check it out again.
Yes.
And
Check it out
Y'all
again.
remember that was the idea I had last year. Y'all remember I had we were supposed to be doing a fundraiser last year. Remember I had that idea to do a bonfire for Jaguar last year?
I've only been in this since like January, so I don't recall. I don't think I was part of the team back then, but
And I just also want
Yeah,
to,
that was like November.
Yeah,
to
I
include
remember that.
something that is very, very important. That is so disappointing. Yeah, for humanity to take Jaguar's mom idea
yeah,
and then go ahead and profit and get their children back and leave her high and dry. That is
Right.
absolutely disgusting.
it is.
So
It
I
is.
hope.
Oh, it was several concepts. Yeah,
Hey, guys,
but the bonfire.
So anyway,
we got to wrap it up because we're already way past 2 hours, and I try to keep it to a minimum of 2.
Okay.
Dottie, are you there?
no,
Anyways,
I don't.
I'll reach out to her after the show. I'm sure she's probably got something going on. Anyways, good night, everybody. Thank you for watching our show, and we'll be having more updates in the very near future. With hopefully, I'm gonna try and see what's going on with my buddy. I would like to get a pre-recorded interview if we can, but short of that, we'll probably have to wait till after his lawsuit. But we'll see what happens, you guys. But I'll keep you posted as as much as I'm able to on this story.